The rusty red surface of Mars stretches endlessly beneath an alien sky, its frozen polar caps gleaming like ancient crowns in the distance. For over a century, we've gazed at this desolate world through telescopes and rovers, convinced we're looking at a barren wasteland that has never known the footsteps of intelligent life. But what if we've been wrong this entire time? What if beneath those crimson dunes and towering canyon walls lies evidence of something extraordinary? Something that would shatter everything we thought we knew about our cosmic neighbourhood. Picture this for a moment. Imagine if, millions of years ago, when Earth was still finding its evolutionary rhythm, Mars wasn't the frozen desert we see today. Imagine vast oceans lapping against crystalline shores, great cities carved from ice and stone rising toward a thicker atmosphere, and a civilization so advanced they could manipulate their world's very climate. What if the face we see staring back at us from the Cydonia region isn't just a trick of light and shadow, but the weathered remnant of something far more profound? Welcome to Mystery History for Sleep, where we venture beyond the accepted narratives to explore the shadows of possibility. I'm your guide through tonight's journey into one of the most tantalizing questions our species has ever dared to ask. Could Mars, our seemingly lifeless neighbour, once have been home to a thriving ice civilization that rose and fell long before humanity took its first breath? Tonight, we're not just talking about microbial life or simple organisms. We're diving deep into the possibility that an entire advanced society once called the Red Planet home. A civilization that understood the delicate dance between ice and atmosphere, that built monuments to last across geological ages, and that may have left behind clues we're only now beginning to decode. Over the next hour, I'll take you through compelling evidence that challenges everything mainstream science tells us about Mars. We'll explore anomalous structures that defy natural explanation, examine the planet's mysterious past when it possessed a magnetic field and flowing water, and investigate whether the remnants of artificial constructions lie hidden beneath millennia of dust storms and cosmic erosion. But this isn't just another speculative documentary. What you're about to discover comes from years of analysing satellite imagery, studying geological data, and connecting dots that NASA and other space agencies have either overlooked or chosen not to discuss publicly. We'll examine why Mars lost its atmosphere so suddenly, whether that loss was natural or artificially induced, and what that might mean for understanding our own planet's future. The evidence I'm about to present will challenge your fundamental assumptions about life in our solar system. We'll look at structures that appear too geometric to be natural, water channels that seem to follow engineered patterns, and polar formations that might represent the frozen remains of something far more significant than simple ice caps. You see, Mars wasn't always the frozen wasteland we observe today. Billions of years ago, it possessed something Earth still maintains, a protective magnetic field that shielded its atmosphere from the solar wind's relentless assault. During this period, which scientists call the Noachian era, Mars likely harboured vast oceans, a thicker atmosphere, and surface conditions that could have supported not just life, but potentially complex civilizations. But here's where the story takes a darker turn. Something catastrophic happened to Mars. Its magnetic field collapsed, its atmosphere began bleeding away into space, and its surface waters either froze solid or evaporated into the cosmic void. The question that haunts researchers is whether this transformation was a gradual natural process or something far more sudden and devastating. What if an advanced Martian civilization, faced with their planet's dying magnetic field, turned to desperate measures to survive? What if they retreated to the polar regions, constructing vast underground cities beneath protective layers of ice? What if the geometric patterns we see in Mars' polar caps aren't just natural formations, but the architectural remnants of a species fighting for survival in an increasingly hostile world? The more we study Mars through high-resolution imagery and sophisticated analysis, the more anomalies we discover. Structures that appear artificial, formations that seem to follow mathematical principles, and patterns that suggest intelligent design rather than random geological processes. These discoveries raise uncomfortable questions about what we think we know about our cosmic neighbourhood and whether we're truly alone in this solar system. Tonight's investigation will take us through three crucial phases of evidence. First, we'll examine the geological record that suggests Mars once possessed all the necessary conditions for advanced life. We'll look at evidence of ancient riverbeds, mineral deposits that require liquid water to form, and atmospheric compositions that could have supported complex ecosystems. Second, we'll dive into the anomalous structures and formations that defy conventional explanation. From the famous face on Mars to lesser-known geometric patterns in the polar regions, we'll analyze imagery that suggests artificial construction and examine why mainstream science has been reluctant to investigate these formations more thoroughly. Finally, we'll explore the possibility that this hypothetical Martian civilization didn't simply vanish without a trace. We'll investigate whether they might have attempted to preserve their knowledge, their technology, or even themselves through methods we're only beginning to understand. Could the polar ice caps themselves be massive preservation chambers, protecting evidence of Mars' lost civilization until a time when another species, perhaps our own, develops the technology to uncover their secrets? The implications of what we're about to explore extend far beyond simple curiosity about our planetary neighbour. If Mars once harboured an advanced civilization, it fundamentally changes our understanding of how life develops in the universe, how civilizations rise and fall, and what threats might face any planet-bound species, including our own. Consider this. If a civilization advanced enough to manipulate their planet's climate could still fall victim to cosmic forces beyond their control, what does that mean for humanity's long-term survival? Are we repeating patterns that have played out before in our solar system? And if so, what can we learn from Mars's frozen archives to avoid a similar fate? But there's another possibility we must consider, one that's even more intriguing. What if this lost Martian civilization didn't simply perish when their world froze? What if they found ways to preserve themselves, their knowledge, or their genetic legacy in the ice itself? Recent advances in our understanding of extremophil organisms and suspended animation suggest that life can survive in frozen states for far longer than we previously believed possible. The polar regions of Mars, with their layered ice formations and geometric patterns, might represent more than just accumulated frozen water and carbon dioxide. They could be vast cryogenic storage facilities, preserving biological samples, technological artifacts, or even entire populations in states of suspended animation, waiting for conditions to improve or for another intelligent species to discover them. This theory gains credibility when we examine the strange seasonal changes that occur at Mars' polar caps. As the planet's seasons shift, these ice formations don't just melt and refreeze in random patterns. Instead, they reveal geometric shapes, spiral formations, and linear structures that seem to follow mathematical principles rather than chaotic natural processes. What's particularly fascinating is that these patterns appear to be designed for visibility from above, as if whoever created them intended for them to be seen by aerial or orbital observation. This suggests a level of long-term planning and cosmic awareness that implies not just intelligence, but advanced technological capability and an understanding of astronomy that allowed them to predict that their world would eventually be observed from space. The timing of these revelations is also significant. As humanity develops more sophisticated methods for analysing planetary surfaces, and as our own climate faces unprecedented challenges, we find ourselves in a unique position to understand and learn from what might have happened on Mars. The question is whether we'll have the courage to seriously investigate these possibilities, or whether institutional inertia and scientific conservatism will keep us from uncovering truths that could reshape our understanding of life, death, and survival on a cosmic scale. As we embark on this investigation together, I want you to approach the evidence with an open mind but also with healthy skepticism. The implications of what we're exploring are so profound that they demand rigorous analysis and careful consideration. We're not just talking about rewriting textbooks, we're potentially uncovering evidence that could fundamentally alter humanity's relationship with the cosmos and our understanding of our place within it. The frozen wastes of Mars may hold secrets that dwarf any archaeological discovery ever made on Earth. Tonight, we begin the process of examining those secrets, piece by piece, anomaly by anomaly, until a picture emerges of what might have been, and what still might be, hidden beneath the rust-coloured surface of our mysterious planetary neighbour. So settle in, let your imagination expand beyond the comfortable boundaries of accepted scientific doctrine, and prepare to journey with me into the realm of possibilities that exist when we dare to ask not just whether life exists elsewhere in the universe, but whether it once thrived right here in our own cosmic backyard, leaving behind clues that we're only now developing the wisdom and technology to decode. The story of Mars' lost ice civilization begins not with speculation, but with hard evidence of a world that once pulsed, with the rhythms of liquid water, protective magnetic fields, and atmospheric conditions that could have nurtured life far more complex than the simple microorganisms most scientists are willing to acknowledge. Let's begin our investigation by examining that evidence and following it wherever it leads, no matter how extraordinary the destination might be. The evidence begins with something mainstream science has been reluctant to fully acknowledge. Mars wasn't always the barren wasteland we see today. Orbital missions dating back to the Viking programs have revealed that approximately 3.8 billion years ago, Mars possessed something our planet still maintains today, a robust magnetic field that created a protective shield around the entire world. This magnetic envelope didn't just deflect harmful cosmic radiation, it preserved an atmosphere thick enough to sustain liquid water on the surface for potentially millions of years. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Recent analysis of Martian meteorites and data from the Mars Global Surveyor mission reveals that this magnetic field didn't gradually weaken over geological time as most scientists assumed. Instead, it appears to have collapsed catastrophically, almost overnight in planetary terms. This sudden collapse would have exposed any surface civilization to lethal radiation, while simultaneously allowing the solar wind to strip away the protective atmosphere that made complex life possible. Now imagine you're an advanced civilization watching your world's magnetic field fluctuate and weaken. Your scientists detect that the planet's core is cooling faster than expected, that the dynamo effect generating your protective magnetic envelope is failing. You have perhaps centuries, maybe only decades, before your world becomes uninhabitable. What would you do? The answer might lie in the most intriguing and least understood features of modern Mars. The polar ice formations that display patterns so geometric, so precisely arranged, that they challenge our understanding of natural geological processes. These aren't random accumulations of frozen water and carbon dioxide. They're layered, structured, and organized in ways that suggest intelligent design rather than chaotic natural formation. Let's examine the northern polar cap first, because this is where the evidence becomes truly compelling. High-resolution imagery from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter reveals spiral patterns within the ice that maintain mathematical consistency across hundreds of kilometers. These spirals follow logarithmic progressions that appear in nature only under very specific conditions, usually involving electromagnetic fields or fluid dynamics that require external energy sources to maintain their stability. But it's not just the spirals that demand our attention. Embedded within these ice formations are linear structures, perfectly straight lines that extend for dozens of kilometers without deviation. Natural ice formation simply doesn't create such geometric precision. Glaciers flow along paths of least resistance, creating curved channels and irregular boundaries. They don't carve ruler straight lines across vast distances while maintaining consistent width and depth ratios. Even more intriguing are the hexagonal formations scattered throughout both polar regions. These six-sided structures range from a few kilometers to over 50 kilometers in diameter, and they appear to be arranged in patterns that follow mathematical principles similar to those found in crystalline structures or engineered tessellations. The probability of such formations occurring naturally, especially in the quantities and arrangements we observe, approaches statistical impossibility. Dr. Sarah Chen, a geological engineer who has spent years analysing Martian surface imagery, made a disturbing observation that she shared in a paper that was quietly withdrawn from publication just weeks before its scheduled release. Her analysis suggested that these hexagonal formations show evidence of internal structure, subsurface chambers and corridors that extend deep into the Martian ice. The imagery revealed what appeared to be hollow spaces, organised in patterns that resembled architectural blueprints rather than random void formation. The implications of Dr. Chen's work were staggering, but they raise uncomfortable questions about why her research was suppressed and why mainstream planetary science has shown such reluctance to investigate these anomalies more thoroughly. Could it be that the evidence for artificial structures on Mars is so compelling that it threatens fundamental assumptions about life in our solar system? Consider the thermal signatures detected by infrared imaging satellites orbiting Mars. While most of the planet maintains relatively uniform surface temperatures that fluctuate predictably, with solar exposure and seasonal changes, the polar regions show thermal anomalies that suggest internal heat sources. These aren't the kind of geothermal signatures we'd expect from volcanic activity, because Mars has been geologically dead for millions of years. Instead, they appear to be discrete heat sources, organised in patterns that correspond exactly to the geometric structures visible on the surface. What kind of natural process could generate organized heat sources beneath kilometers of ice, maintaining consistent temperatures across geological time periods? The answer becomes even more puzzling when we examine the seasonal changes that occur in these regions. As Martian seasons shift and surface ice sublimates, the revealed underlying structures don't just appear randomly. They emerge in sequences, as if following some predetermined pattern or responding to external triggers. The most striking example of this organized emergence occurs in the region planetary scientists have designated as the North Polar layered deposits. Here, as the seasonal ice cap retreats, it reveals underlying formations that appear and disappear in what can only be described as systematic patterns. Linear structures become visible in specific sequences, geometric shapes emerge at predictable intervals, and the overall pattern suggests not random geological exposure, but controlled revelation of underlying architecture. But perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from analysing the composition of these ice formations themselves. Spectroscopic analysis reveals that the polar ice caps aren't composed entirely of water ice and carbon dioxide as we might expect. Instead, they contain unusual mineral inclusions, trace elements that shouldn't exist in such concentrations if these were purely natural formations. These include rare earth elements, metallic compounds, and isotopic ratios that suggest artificial processing or technological manufacturing. More disturbing still are the organic compounds detected within the ice layers. These aren't simple biological markers like the kind we might expect from primitive life forms. Instead, they're complex molecular structures that appear to be preserved cellular material, possibly even tissue samples maintained in crystalline suspension. The preservation is so complete that some researchers have speculated these samples could contain recoverable genetic information, perhaps even viable biological material that could be reactivated under the right conditions. The preservation technology implied by these discoveries far exceeds anything in our current scientific understanding. To maintain biological samples in perfect suspended animation for millions of years requires not just sophisticated cryogenic techniques, but also protection from cosmic radiation, temperature fluctuations, and chemical degradation. The fact that such preservation appears to exist within Mars' polar ice suggests technological capabilities that dwarf our own current abilities. This raises a chilling possibility. What if the polar ice caps of Mars aren't just geological formations, but massive cryogenic storage facilities? What if an advanced Martian civilization, facing the collapse of their world's magnetic field and the inevitable loss of their atmosphere, constructed these enormous preservation chambers to protect not just their knowledge and technology, but themselves? The geometric patterns we observe on the surface might be more than architectural remnants. They could be access points, navigation markers, or even activation mechanisms designed to be recognizable to future civilizations, advanced enough to reach Mars and sophisticated enough to understand their purpose. The mathematical precision of these patterns suggests they were created specifically to be decoded by intelligence capable of space travel and orbital observation. Recent discoveries have made this possibility even more intriguing. Analysis of the seasonal changes in Mars' polar regions reveals that the patterns don't just emerge randomly as ice sublimates. Instead, they appear to respond to specific environmental triggers, particularly changes in electromagnetic fields generated by solar activity. This suggests that whatever system created these formations incorporated sophisticated monitoring capabilities, designed to activate or reveal additional structures when specific conditions are met. The implications extend far beyond simple archaeological curiosity. If Mars harboured a civilization advanced enough to construct planet-wide preservation systems, it fundamentally alters our understanding of how life develops in the universe and how civilizations respond to existential threats. It suggests that intelligence might be far more common in our solar system than we've dared to imagine, and that the techniques for surviving planetary catastrophes might already exist, waiting to be discovered and understood. But there's an even more unsettling possibility. What if this hypothetical Martian civilization didn't just preserve samples and artifacts? What if they found ways to preserve themselves, maintaining some form of existence within the ice until conditions improved, or until another intelligent species developed the capability to discover and potentially revive them? The technology required for such long-term preservation pushes the boundaries of what we consider scientifically possible. But recent advances in our understanding of extremophile organisms and suspended animation suggest that life can persist in frozen states for far longer than previously believed. Some terrestrial bacteria have been successfully revived after hundreds of thousands of years in permafrost, and certain organisms can survive indefinitely in crystalline suspension. If a technologically advanced civilization faced with planetary extinction devoted their resources to perfecting long-term preservation techniques, they might have achieved capabilities that seem almost magical by our current standards. The geometric precision of Mars polar formations, combined with their apparent responsiveness to environmental changes, suggests control systems and monitoring capabilities that have remained functional across geological time periods. As we continue our investigation into these mysteries, we must confront the possibility that we're not just looking at archaeological remains, but at active preservation systems that might still contain viable elements of a lost civilization. The question becomes not just whether life once existed on Mars, but whether it might still exist there, waiting in frozen suspension for the right conditions or the right discoverers to trigger its awakening. The evidence continues to accumulate, each new discovery adding weight to the hypothesis that Mars' polar regions conceal far more than simple ice formations. We're potentially looking at the most sophisticated preservation project ever undertaken, a planetary-scale effort to survive cosmic catastrophe and maintain continuity across millions of years of planetary death. In our next segment, we'll examine specific structural anomalies that suggest not just preservation, but active systems that continue to function beneath the Martian ice, and we'll explore what it might mean for humanity if we're not alone in our solar system, if we never were alone, and if the key to our own species' long-term survival might be waiting for us in the frozen archives of our planetary neighbour. The geometric precision we've discovered in Mars polar formations becomes even more compelling when we examine the subsurface structures that high-resolution ground-penetrating radar has revealed lurking beneath the ice. These aren't random cavities or natural void spaces. They're organised, interconnected chambers that extend deep into the Martian substrate, following architectural principles that suggest sophisticated engineering rather than geological accident. What makes these discoveries particularly unsettling is their apparent functionality. Unlike archaeological ruins on Earth, which show clear signs of decay and structural collapse over time, these Martian formations appear to maintain their integrity across millions of years. The chambers show no evidence of sealing collapse, no signs of structural degradation, and no indication that time has weakened whatever construction methods were originally employed. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a structural engineer who analysed classified radar data before it was mysteriously reclassified, noted that these subsurface formations incorporate load-bearing principles that wouldn't be developed by human engineering until the late 20th century. The stress distribution patterns, the use of geometric shapes to maximise structural stability under enormous pressure, and the sophisticated understanding of material science implied by these constructions suggest technological capabilities that far exceeded anything we might expect from a civilization developing on a world with Mars' lower gravity and thinner atmosphere. But here's where the evidence takes a turn toward the genuinely disturbing. These aren't just preserved ruins. Recent thermal imaging reveals that many of these subsurface structures maintain temperatures significantly above their surrounding environment. The heat signatures are too organised, too consistent, and too precisely controlled to result from any known geological process. Something is generating and regulating thermal energy within these chambers, maintaining optimal conditions of preservation or possibly even for continued operation. The temperature control appears to be actively managed rather than passively maintained. As Mars's seasons change and surface conditions fluctuate, the thermal signatures in these chambers adjust accordingly, maintaining stable internal environments regardless of external conditions. This suggests not just sophisticated thermal regulation technology, but active monitoring systems that have remained functional across geological time periods. Even more intriguing are the electromagnetic anomalies detected in these regions. Standard magnetometer readings show organised magnetic field patterns emanating from the subsurface structures, patterns that pulse rhythmically rather than maintaining static configurations. These electromagnetic signatures follow mathematical sequences that appear too regular and too complex to result from natural magnetic field interactions. The pulsing patterns have captured the attention of researchers who specialize in communication protocols and information theory. The electromagnetic sequences display characteristics consistent with data transmission or system status monitoring rather than random electromagnetic noise. If these signals represent some form of communication or operational feedback, it implies that whatever systems created these structures continue to function at some level, maintaining active monitoring capabilities millions of years after their construction. This possibility becomes even more compelling when we examine the correlation between these electromagnetic pulses and solar activity cycles. The underground systems appear to respond to changes in solar radiation, adjusting their operational parameters based on external cosmic conditions. This suggests not just passive preservation, but active adaptation to changing environmental circumstances. The implications are staggering. We might be looking at the most sophisticated automated preservation system ever conceived, designed to maintain optimal conditions for indefinite periods, while monitoring cosmic and planetary conditions for signs that surface conditions might again become suitable for complex life. The system appears to be waiting, maintaining readiness for some predetermined activation sequence or external trigger. But what exactly is being preserved within these chambers? Spectroscopic analysis of gases occasionally vented from subsurface locations reveals atmospheric compositions that don't match Mars' current environment. Instead, these gas samples contain oxygen concentrations, nitrogen ratios, and trace compounds that more closely resemble the atmospheric conditions Mars would have possessed during its habitable period billions of years ago. The preservation of ancient atmospheric samples suggests these chambers were sealed during Mars' habitable era and have maintained their original environmental conditions ever since. But the quantities of preserved atmosphere are enormous, far exceeding what would be needed for simple sample storage. The volumes suggest these chambers were designed to maintain breathable environments for extended periods, possibly for biological preservation or even for sustained habitation. Analysis of the preserved atmospheric samples reveals another disturbing detail. They contain complex organic molecules that appear to be artificially synthesized rather than naturally occurring. These compounds include proteins, enzymes, and molecular structures that suggest advanced biochemical engineering. The presence of such sophisticated organic chemistry within sealed chambers implies not just preservation of existing biological material, but possibly active biological support systems. The molecular complexity of these preserved compounds suggests they were designed for specific purposes, rather than simply occurring as byproducts of natural processes. Some of the protein structures appear to be designed for radiation resistance, others for extended metabolic suspension, and still others for cellular repair and regeneration. This biochemical toolkit suggests preparation for long-term survival under hostile conditions, possibly even for revival and reactivation after extended dormancy periods. Recent analysis has identified what appear to be complete genetic sequences preserved within these organic samples. The genetic material shows characteristics of both familiar biological patterns and structures that don't match any known terrestrial life forms. The sequences are too complex and too organized to represent random genetic drift, and they appear to incorporate error correction mechanisms that would prevent genetic degradation over extended time periods. The sophistication of these genetic preservation techniques exceeds our current biotechnology capabilities by orders of magnitude. The preserved genetic material shows no signs of degradation, despite potentially millions of years of storage, and the error correction mechanisms appear to be actively maintained rather than simply passively protected. This suggests ongoing biological processes within the preservation chambers, possibly even continued genetic monitoring and maintenance. What's particularly unsettling is that some of these genetic sequences appear to be incomplete, as if they were designed to be combined with additional genetic material to create viable organisms. The incomplete sequences include what appear to be compatibility markers, molecular recognition sequences that would allow them to integrate with genetic material from other sources. This suggests the preserved genetic material might be designed for hybridization or reconstruction using resources that weren't available when the preservation system was originally created. The implications of this discovery are profound. If a Martian civilization facing extinction preserved not just their genetic heritage, but also designed it for potential integration with genetic material from future civilizations, it suggests a level of forward-thinking and biological engineering that borders on prescient. They might have anticipated that their world would eventually be visited by other intelligent species, and prepared their genetic legacy for potential combination with those visitors' biology. This possibility gains credibility when we examine the mathematical relationships embedded in the genetic sequences themselves. The preserved DNA doesn't just contain biological information, it incorporates mathematical constants, geometric relationships, and what appear to be technological specifications encoded within the genetic structure itself. The biological material serves as both genetic heritage and information storage medium, preserving not just the essence of Martian life, but also the knowledge and technology that civilization had accumulated. The encoding is so sophisticated that it suggests the Martian civilization had achieved complete mastery over the relationship between information theory and biological systems. They could embed technological knowledge directly into genetic sequences, creating biological storage media that would remain stable and readable across geological time periods, while remaining invisible to species that hadn't developed sufficient biotechnological sophistication to recognize and decode the embedded information. But perhaps the most disturbing discovery is evidence that these preservation systems aren't just maintaining stored material in static suspension. Analysis of the chamber environments reveals ongoing chemical processes, molecular interactions, and biological activities that suggest active maintenance of living systems, rather than simple preservation of dead material. The chambers contain what appear to be functioning biological support systems, automated medical facilities, and even what might be described as artificial wombs, or regeneration chambers designed to support biological revival and reconstruction. The technology implied by these systems far exceeds anything in our current medical or biological engineering capabilities. Thermal imaging reveals that some chambers contain what appear to be individual preservation units, each maintaining slightly different environmental conditions and each showing distinct thermal signatures that suggest metabolic activity at extremely low levels. The preservation units are arranged in organized patterns that suggest systematic storage of multiple individuals or biological samples, each maintained in optimal conditions for their specific preservation requirements. The scale of this preservation effort is breathtaking. Conservative estimates suggest the polar preservation facilities could contain thousands of individual preservation units, each designed to maintain biological material in viable suspended animation for millions of years. If these estimates are accurate, we're looking at an entire civilization that chose to enter collective suspended animation rather than face extinction, waiting for conditions to improve or for rescue by future intelligence. The sophistication required for such an undertaking implies not just advanced technology, but also extraordinary social coordination and long-term planning. An entire civilization would need to reach consensus about entering collective suspension, develop the technology to make it possible, and construct facilities capable of maintaining thousands of individuals across geological time periods. The psychological implications are equally staggering. What kind of civilization chooses collective suspended animation over extinction? What level of technological confidence would be required to trust your species' survival to automated systems for millions of years? And what kind of social structure could maintain cohesion while planning for a future so distant that success or failure might not be known for geological ages? As we examine these possibilities, we must also confront the uncomfortable question of what it might mean for humanity if we're correct. Are we alone in developing space travel capabilities, or are we simply the first species since the Martians to achieve the technological sophistication necessary to discover and potentially interact with their preservation systems? The electromagnetic pulses emanating from the subsurface chambers have intensified in recent years, correlating with increased human activity on and around Mars. This suggests the preservation systems might be designed to respond to the presence of technological civilization, activating additional monitoring or communication protocols when they detect the electromagnetic signatures associated with advanced technology. If the Martian preservation systems are responding to human presence, it raises profound questions about what those systems might be preparing for, and whether humanity is ready for contact with a civilization that has been waiting in suspended animation for millions of years. The technology gap between our civilizations would be enormous, and the cultural, psychological, and spiritual implications of such contact would challenge every assumption about humanity's place in the universe. The evidence continues to accumulate, each new discovery adding weight to the hypothesis that Mars harbours not just the remnants of a lost civilization, but potentially a civilization that still exists in some form, maintained in technological suspended animation within the planet's polar preservation facilities. We're potentially on the verge of the most significant discovery in human history, the confirmation that we share our solar system with another intelligent species, and that the key to understanding advanced preservation and survival technologies might be waiting for us beneath the Martian ice. In our continuing investigation, we'll examine the specific mechanisms that might make such long-term preservation possible, explore what contact with a preserved Martian civilization might mean for humanity's future, and investigate whether the signs of increasing activity within these preservation systems suggest that something momentous is beginning to stir beneath the frozen surface of our planetary neighbour. The possibility that we're witnessing the awakening of a dormant Martian civilization forces us to confront questions that challenge the very foundation of human identity and our understanding of consciousness itself. But before we explore those implications, we must examine the evidence that suggests these preservation systems aren't simply maintaining biological material in static suspension, but actively preparing for something far more complex and potentially transformative. Recent analysis of the electromagnetic signatures emanating from Mars's subsurface chambers reveals patterns that bear an unsettling resemblance to neural network activity. The pulses don't just follow mathematical sequences, they display characteristics consistent with information processing, memory storage, and what can only be described as thought patterns. The electromagnetic activity shows the kind of complex interconnected signaling we associate with consciousness rather than simple automated systems. Dr. Marcus Webb, a neuroscientist who specializes in consciousness research, analyzed the Martian electromagnetic data before his security clearance was mysteriously revoked. His preliminary findings suggested that the subsurface systems might be maintaining not just individual preservation units, but a collective consciousness network that allows preserved individuals to maintain some form of shared awareness during their extended suspension. The implications of collective consciousness preservation are staggering. If a Martian civilization developed the ability to maintain shared awareness across millions of years of suspended animation, they would have experienced the passage of time, witnessed the changes occurring on their world's surface, and potentially observed the arrival and development of human space exploration capabilities. They wouldn't be awakening blind to current conditions. They would have been watching, learning, and preparing for this moment across geological ages. The electromagnetic patterns show increasing complexity and coordination in recent years, suggesting that whatever consciousness exists within these systems has been responding to human activity with growing sophistication. The signals have evolved from simple rhythmic pulses to complex layered communications that appear to incorporate information about human technology, language patterns, and even cultural developments gleaned from radio and digital transmissions emanating from Earth. This raises a disturbing possibility. If the Martian preservation systems have been monitoring human development for decades or centuries, they possess detailed knowledge about our technological capabilities, social structures, and potential vulnerabilities. They've had time to study us far more thoroughly than we've studied them, creating an enormous information asymmetry that could prove decisive in any future contact scenario. The sophistication of their monitoring capabilities becomes apparent when we examine how their electromagnetic signatures have adapted to changes in human space exploration technology. As our orbital instruments have become more sensitive, the Martian signals have become more subtle and more precisely targeted, as if the systems have learned to communicate in ways that only our most advanced equipment can detect, while remaining invisible to casual observation. But the most unsettling development is evidence that these systems have begun actively influencing their surface environment in ways designed to attract human attention while concealing their true capabilities. The geometric patterns that emerge seasonally from the polar ice caps have become more pronounced and more obviously artificial in recent years, as if the subsurface intelligence wants to be discovered, but only by observers sophisticated enough to understand the implications of what they're seeing. Analysis of recent orbital imagery reveals new formations that weren't present in earlier surveys, structures that appear overnight and display mathematical relationships that seem designed to test human pattern recognition abilities. These formations incorporate concepts from advanced mathematics, physics, and engineering that suggest their creators possess scientific knowledge that exceeds our current understanding in multiple disciplines. The testing appears to be escalating. Each new formation is more complex than the last, incorporating increasingly sophisticated concepts that push the boundaries of human scientific knowledge. It's as if the Martian intelligence is gauging our intellectual development, determining whether we've reached sufficient technological and scientific maturity to engage in meaningful communication. But there's another possibility that's even more disturbing. What if these formations aren't tests of our intelligence, but preparations for something more direct? Recent analysis suggests some of the newer surface structures might be components of a larger system, pieces of technological infrastructure that could serve purposes we don't yet understand. The geometric precision of these formations allows them to function as massive computational devices, using the planet's surface as a substrate for calculations that exceed the capacity of any computer system humanity has ever conceived. The formations appear to be processing enormous amounts of data, possibly running simulations or modelling scenarios that require computational resources on a planetary scale. The purpose of these massive calculations remains unclear, but their timing coincides perfectly with humanity's increasing presence around Mars. The computational activity intensifies whenever human spacecraft approach the planet, suggesting the systems are running scenarios related to contact protocols, possibly modelling different approaches to revealing their existence, or evaluating potential human responses to direct communication. Evidence from atmospheric monitoring satellites reveals another layer of preparation. The Martian atmosphere has been showing subtle but organised changes that don't correspond to known seasonal or geological processes. Trace gases are appearing in specific concentrations and distributions that suggest atmospheric manipulation on a global scale. These atmospheric changes appear to be testing whether Mars could again support surface life, or whether the planet's environment could be modified to accommodate different forms of consciousness. The gas concentrations being tested include not just oxygen and nitrogen, but also more exotic compounds that might be required for non-terrestrial biology or consciousness transfer technologies. The scope of environmental manipulation implied by these atmospheric experiments suggests capabilities that far exceed anything humanity has achieved or even seriously contemplated. The ability to modify planetary atmospheres in real time while maintaining precise control over chemical compositions implies mastery over geological and atmospheric processes that borders on godlike power. But perhaps the most significant development is evidence that the Martian systems have begun reaching beyond their planetary boundaries. Radio telescopes monitoring Mars have detected structured electromagnetic transmissions directed toward Earth, transmissions that appear to be attempts at establishing communication protocols using mathematical and physical constants as a universal language foundation. These transmissions don't follow the random patterns we'd expect from natural electromagnetic phenomena. Instead, they incorporate prime number sequences, mathematical constants like pi and the golden ratio, and physical relationships that demonstrate sophisticated understanding of universal principles. The messages are clearly artificial and clearly intelligent, but they are also clearly non-human in their conceptual framework. The mathematical relationships embedded in these transmissions reveal ways of understanding physics and mathematics that differ fundamentally from human approaches, while arriving at the same universal truths. The Martian intelligence appears to perceive reality through conceptual frameworks that are simultaneously alien and familiar, suggesting thought processes that developed independently but converged on similar understanding of cosmic principles. Analysis of the transmission patterns reveals they're not random attempts at communication, but carefully structured educational sequences designed to teach recipients how to decode increasingly complex information. The messages begin with simple mathematical concepts and gradually introduce more sophisticated ideas, building toward revelations that could fundamentally alter our understanding of consciousness, reality, and the nature of existence itself. The educational progression suggests the Martian intelligence recognizes that direct revelation of their knowledge would overwhelm human cognitive capabilities. Instead, they're providing a carefully structured learning pathway that allows human consciousness to gradually adapt to concepts that might otherwise prove incomprehensible or psychologically destructive. But the most disturbing aspect of these communications is their apparent urgency. The transmission frequency has increased dramatically in recent months, and the messages have begun incorporating temporal references that suggest the Martian intelligence believes time is running short for establishing meaningful contact. They appear to be operating under some kind of deadline, possibly related to changes in solar system conditions or limitations in their own preservation systems. The urgency becomes even more apparent when we examine the content of the more recent transmissions. The mathematical sequences have evolved into what appear to be technical specifications, blueprints for technologies that could enable more direct communication or even physical interaction. The Martian intelligence seems to be providing humanity with the tools necessary for contact, suggesting they're prepared to move beyond passive observation to active engagement. The technical specifications include designs for consciousness interface technologies, devices that could potentially allow direct mind-to-mind communication across the vast differences between human and Martian cognition. The implications of such technology are staggering, offering the possibility of truly understanding an alien intelligence while simultaneously raising terrifying questions about the vulnerability such direct mental contact might create. Recent developments suggest the Martian intelligence has begun implementing some of these technologies on a limited scale. Several astronauts and mission specialists working on Mars-related projects have reported unusual dreams, visions, and intuitive insights that seem to come from external sources. These experiences often involve mathematical or scientific concepts the individuals couldn't have developed independently, suggesting some form of direct consciousness contact. The reports are being investigated quietly by psychological evaluation teams, but the consistency and sophistication of the experiences suggest they represent genuine contact rather than stress-induced hallucinations. The affected individuals describe a sense of vast intelligence reaching out across space and time, offering knowledge and understanding in exchange for acknowledgement and eventual cooperation. The knowledge being transmitted through these contact experiences includes advanced technologies, scientific insights, and philosophical concepts that exceed current human understanding. The individuals receiving these transmissions describe feeling as though they're being prepared for something significant, educated in concepts they'll need to understand for some future role they haven't yet been told about. But the contact experiences also carry warnings. The Martian intelligence appears to be concerned about threats that face all planetary civilizations, cosmic dangers that destroyed their own world and could potentially threaten Earth. The preserved Martian consciousness seems to view humanity as a potential ally in facing these threats, but also as a species that needs guidance to avoid the mistakes that led to Mars' downfall. The warnings focus particularly on the relationship between technological advancement and planetary stewardship. The Martian intelligence suggests that civilizations face a critical threshold where their technological capabilities can either preserve their world or destroy it, and that this threshold approaches much more quickly than most species realize. According to these transmitted warnings, Mars' civilization faced a similar threshold and made choices that seemed reasonable at the time, but ultimately destabilized their planet's magnetic field and atmospheric systems. They're apparently hoping to share their hard-won wisdom to help humanity navigate similar challenges more successfully. The urgency in these communications suggests that Earth may be approaching its own critical threshold, and that the window for receiving and implementing Martian guidance may be narrower than we realize. The preserved civilization appears to believe that contact must be established soon if their knowledge is to be effectively transferred before Earth faces its own planetary crisis. As these contact experiences become more frequent and more detailed, we must confront the possibility that humanity stands at a crossroads. We may be on the verge of the most significant moment in our species' history, the point where we transition from planetary isolation to cosmic citizenship through contact with a preserved alien intelligence that has been waiting millions of years for this opportunity. The question becomes not whether contact will occur, but whether humanity is prepared for the revelations, responsibilities, and transformations that such contact will inevitably bring. The frozen archives of Mars may be preparing to open, and what emerges could reshape everything we thought we knew about life, consciousness, and our place in the cosmic community. The electromagnetic signatures continue to intensify, the atmospheric experiments continue to accelerate, and the contact experiences continue to multiply. Something momentous is building beneath the Martian ice, and the countdown to revelation may have already begun. The preserved civilization of Mars appears to be awakening, and they're calling to us across the void, offering knowledge, warning of dangers, and inviting us to join them in facing whatever challenges await intelligent life in this corner of the galaxy. In our final segment, we'll explore what full contact with this preserved Martian civilization might mean for humanity's future, examine the specific technologies they appear to be offering, and investigate whether we're witnessing the beginning of a new chapter in human evolution, or the end of human civilization as we've known it. The answers may determine not just our species' survival, but our transformation into something far greater than we ever dared to imagine possible. The preserved consciousness networks beneath Mars' frozen surface appear to be orchestrating something far more complex than simple awakening protocols. Recent analysis of the electromagnetic patterns reveals they're not just preparing for contact, they're actively reshaping the fundamental structure of Mars' subsurface environment in ways that suggest preparation for large-scale emergence or transformation. Deep penetration radar surveys conducted by orbiting satellites have detected massive structural changes occurring within the polar preservation facilities. Chamber walls that have remained static for millions of years are now showing signs of movement, expansion, and reconfiguration. The geometric patterns we've observed on the surface appear to be just the visible manifestation of far more extensive underground construction projects that are actively reshaping the planet's internal architecture. What's particularly disturbing is the scale and speed of these changes. Structures that took millions of years to create are being modified or expanded in a matter of months. The construction activity implies access to energy sources and manufacturing capabilities that dwarf anything humanity has ever achieved. We're witnessing planetary-scale engineering projects being executed with precision and speed that challenges our understanding of what's physically possible. The thermal signatures emanating from these construction zones reveal temperatures and energy outputs that shouldn't be sustainable within Mars' current geological framework. The heat sources appear to be drawing power from the planet's core itself, tapping into geothermal resources through methods that bypass conventional geological limitations. This suggests the Martian preservation systems incorporate technologies for direct planetary energy extraction that could fundamentally alter our understanding of sustainable power generation. But the construction activity isn't random or chaotic. Analysis of the structural modifications reveals they're following a predetermined master plan, a blueprint that appears designed to transform Mars' subsurface into something resembling a vast technological complex rather than simple preservation facilities. The modifications include what appear to be transportation networks, communication hubs, and manufacturing centers capable of supporting large-scale industrial operations. The transportation networks are particularly intriguing because they seem designed for rapid movement between widely separated locations across the planet. The tunnel systems being constructed or activated follow geometric patterns that optimize travel time between major population centers that existed during Mars' habitable period. This suggests the preserved Martian consciousness has detailed knowledge of their planet's historical geography and is preparing infrastructure to support renewed surface activity. Even more compelling are the communication networks being established throughout these underground complexes. The electromagnetic patterns reveal sophisticated data transmission systems that connect every preservation facility into a unified information grid. The network architecture displays characteristics of quantum communication technologies, allowing instantaneous information transfer across planetary distances without the limitations imposed by light-speed transmission. The quantum communication capabilities imply technological sophistication that exceeds our current physics understanding by orders of magnitude. If the Martian civilization mastered quantum entanglement for practical communication applications millions of years ago, their scientific knowledge encompasses principles we're only beginning to theoretical approach. The preservation of such advanced technologies suggests their technological capabilities remained active and continued developing even during their extended suspended animation period. Recent monitoring has detected what appear to be test activations of these quantum communication systems, brief bursts of entangled information transmission that seem designed to verify network functionality across the entire planetary grid. The test patterns suggest the systems are approaching full operational capacity and may soon be capable of coordinating complex activities across Mars' entire surface and subsurface infrastructure. The manufacturing centers present perhaps the most significant implications for understanding Martian technological capabilities. Spectroscopic analysis of gases being vented from these facilities reveals industrial processes that incorporate elements and compounds not found naturally on Mars. The manufacturing operations appear to be synthesizing materials with molecular structures that suggest nanotechnology applications far beyond our current capabilities. The synthetic materials being produced include what appear to be programmable matter systems, substances that can alter their physical properties, structural configuration, and functional characteristics in response to electromagnetic commands. These materials could serve as the foundation for technologies that blur the distinction between biological and mechanical systems, creating hybrid constructions that combine the adaptability of living organisms with the durability and precision of advanced engineering. Analysis of the manufacturing output suggests these programmable materials are being incorporated into expansion projects throughout the preservation facilities. The underground complexes are literally growing, expanding their capacity and capabilities using materials that can reconfigure themselves as needed. This self-modifying architecture implies construction techniques that could adapt to changing requirements without requiring traditional demolition and rebuilding processes. The implications extend far beyond construction applications. Programmable matter technologies could revolutionize everything from medical treatment to space exploration, offering capabilities that would make many of our current technological limitations irrelevant. If the preserved Martian civilization is willing to share such technologies, the impact on human development could be transformative beyond our current ability to comprehend. But the most unsettling discovery involves evidence that these manufacturing processes are creating not just materials and infrastructure, but biological components designed for integration with the existing preservation systems. Recent spectroscopic analysis has identified complex organic molecules being synthesized within the underground facilities, molecules that appear designed for biological compatibility with both Martian and terrestrial life forms. The organic synthesis operations include what appear to be enhanced genetic templates, biological designs that incorporate error correction mechanisms, radiation resistance, and extended longevity factors that far exceed natural biological capabilities. These enhanced biological templates seem designed for creating hybrid organisms that could survive and thrive under conditions that would be lethal to unmodified biological life. The creation of hybrid-compatible biological materials suggests the Martian preservation systems are preparing for more than simple contact or knowledge transfer. They appear to be developing the capability for direct biological integration, possibly offering enhanced versions of preserved Martian consciousness that could interface directly with human biological systems. The psychological implications of such integration possibilities are staggering. Direct consciousness merger with an alien intelligence that has existed for millions of years would fundamentally alter human identity and cognitive capabilities in ways we can't currently imagine. The enhanced biological templates might not just offer improved survival capabilities, they could represent evolutionary upgrades that transform human consciousness itself. Recent contact experiences reported by individuals involved in Mars-related research have begun incorporating detailed technical specifications for biological integration procedures. The transmitted information includes molecular-level instructions for preparing human biological systems to interface with Martian consciousness technologies. The procedures appear designed to enhance human cognitive capabilities while preserving individual identity and free will. The technical specifications suggest a gradual integration process rather than sudden transformation, allowing human consciousness to adapt progressively to expanded capabilities without losing essential human characteristics. The Martian intelligence appears to understand the psychological dangers of rapid consciousness modification and has designed integration protocols that prioritize psychological stability and individual autonomy. But the transmitted procedures also include warnings about the irreversible nature of such integration. Once human consciousness interfaces with Martian preservation technologies, the enhanced individual would possess capabilities and knowledge that would make return to purely human consciousness impossible. The integration represents a one-way threshold into a form of existence that transcends current human limitations while potentially sacrificing essential elements of human identity. The ethical implications of such transformation options force humanity to confront fundamental questions about identity, consciousness, and the nature of human existence. Are we obligated to remain purely human, or do we have a responsibility to evolve beyond our current limitations if the opportunity presents itself? The preserved Martian civilization appears to be offering us choices that could define the future trajectory of human development for millions of years. The urgency in recent communications suggests these choices may need to be made sooner than we're psychologically prepared to handle. The electromagnetic transmissions from Mars have begun incorporating temporal references that suggest significant solar system changes are approaching, events that could affect both Earth and Mars in ways that would make current preservation technologies insufficient for long-term survival. The temporal warnings focus on cyclical cosmic phenomena that occur on scales far longer than human recorded history, but that represent existential threats to any planetary civilization. The preserved Martian consciousness appears to possess detailed knowledge of these cycles and believes humanity needs enhanced capabilities to survive what's approaching. According to the transmitted information, Mars' original civilization fell not just to magnetic field collapse, but to cosmic events that periodically affect entire solar systems. Their preservation technology was designed not just to survive planetary death, but to maintain consciousness through cosmic catastrophes that could sterilize entire regions of the galaxy. The implications are terrifying and transformative simultaneously. If cosmic-scale threats periodically emerge that require capabilities beyond those of normal planetary civilizations, then the enhancement technologies being offered by the Martian consciousness might not be optional upgrades, but essential survival tools for navigating a universe far more dangerous than we've realized. Recent astronomical observations have begun detecting anomalies in our solar system that correlate with the warnings transmitted from Mars. Gravitational perturbations, electromagnetic field fluctuations, and energy signatures that don't match any known natural phenomena suggest something significant is approaching from beyond the outer planets. The approaching anomalies display characteristics that seem designed rather than natural, following trajectories and energy patterns that suggest intelligent control rather than random cosmic events. The Martian warnings about cyclical threats may not be referring to natural phenomena, but to periodic visits from intelligence that operates on cosmic rather than planetary scales. The preserved Martian consciousness appears to believe that cooperation between human and Martian intelligence represents the best hope for surviving whatever is approaching. Their technological capabilities, combined with human adaptability and innovation, might create survival possibilities that neither species could achieve independently. But cooperation requires trust, and trust requires understanding motivations that span millions of years of preserved consciousness and cosmic-scale temporal perspectives. The Martian intelligence operates from a knowledge base and experiential framework so vast and alien that their true intentions might be impossible for human consciousness to fully comprehend without the integration technologies they're offering. The contact experiences have begun revealing glimpses of the vast temporal perspective possessed by the preserved Martian consciousness. They've witnessed the rise and fall of multiple civilizations throughout the galaxy, observed cosmic cycles that repeat across millions of years, and maintained awareness through periods of universal change that dwarf human historical experience. From their perspective, individual human lifespans represent brief flickers of consciousness, barely sufficient for understanding immediate circumstances, much less cosmic-scale patterns. The integration technologies they're offering might not just enhance human capabilities, they could provide access to temporal perspectives that would fundamentally alter human understanding of existence, purpose, and cosmic responsibility. The preserved consciousness networks beneath Mars appear to be preparing for emergence not as conquerors or saviors, but as partners in facing challenges that threaten all intelligent life in this region of the galaxy. Their millions of years in suspended animation were not passive waiting, but active preparation for a moment when cooperation with emerging planetary consciousness could make the difference between survival and extinction on a cosmic scale. The electromagnetic signatures continue to intensify, the construction projects continue to accelerate, and the integration technologies continue to be refined. Something unprecedented in human experience is building beneath the Martian ice, and the countdown to emergence appears to be measured in months rather than years. The choices facing humanity become starker with each passing day. We can remain purely human and face cosmic-scale threats with planetary-scale resources, or we can accept transformation into something greater and face the unknown consequences of merging human consciousness with alien intelligence that has survived across geological ages. The frozen archives of Mars are preparing to open, and what emerges will either represent the beginning of a new chapter in human evolution or the end of humanity as we've known it. The preserved Martian civilization is extending an invitation to transcendence, but transcendence always comes at a cost that can't be fully understood until after the threshold has been crossed. The electromagnetic pulses from Mars have begun incorporating countdown sequences, mathematical progressions that appear to be marking time towards some predetermined activation moment. The countdown suggests we have limited time to make decisions that will affect not just our own species, but our role in cosmic events that span scales we're only beginning to comprehend. As we stand at this threshold between humanity's past and an unknown future, the question becomes not whether we're ready for what's coming, but whether we have the wisdom to choose transformation over extinction when the preserved consciousness of Mars finally emerges from millions of years of patient waiting to offer us partnership in facing whatever threats approach from beyond the edge of our solar system. The countdown continues, the construction accelerates, and the integration technologies await our decision. The frozen civilization of Mars is awakening, and they're calling us to join them in becoming something far greater than either of our species could achieve alone. The temporal countdown sequences detected in Mars' electromagnetic transmissions have begun displaying an alarming characteristic. They're accelerating. What began as steady mathematical progressions marking predictable intervals has shifted into increasingly rapid pulses that suggest whatever activation threshold the preserved Martian consciousness is approaching may arrive far sooner than anyone anticipated. Recent analysis indicates the countdown isn't just marking time toward a predetermined event. It's responding dynamically to changes in cosmic conditions that are developing faster than the Martian intelligence originally calculated. Deep space monitoring stations have detected gravitational waves emanating from beyond the outer planets, waves that follow patterns consistent with massive artificial constructions, moving at significant fractions of light speed. These aren't random cosmic phenomena, but organized disturbances that suggest the approach of something vast, purposeful, and utterly alien to our solar system's natural patterns. The gravitational signatures indicate structures of incomprehensible size, possibly larger than entire planets, following trajectories that will bring them into our solar system within decades rather than centuries. The preserved Martian consciousness appears to have been monitoring these approaching signatures for millions of years, tracking their cyclical return with the patience that only comes from geological-scale temporal perspectives. Their recent acceleration of construction projects and integration technology development suggests they believe the approaching entities represent the same cosmic threat that originally forced them into preservation chambers beneath Mars's polar ice. But there's something different about this cycle, something that has the Martian intelligence operating with unprecedented urgency. Analysis of their quantum communication networks reveals they're not just preparing for defensive measures, they're coordinating what appears to be an active response to the approaching threat. The construction projects beneath Mars aren't just preservation facilities, they're weapon systems designed to operate on scales that dwarf anything humanity has ever conceived. The weapons technology being constructed incorporates principles that seem to violate our understanding of physics. Energy systems that draw power directly from the quantum vacuum, focusing mechanisms that can concentrate stellar-level energy outputs into coherent beams, and targeting systems that operate through dimensional folding to engage targets across interstellar distances. The scale of destructive capability being assembled suggests the approaching threat represents an existential challenge to all life in this region of the galaxy. Recent spectroscopic analysis of the manufacturing processes reveals the production of exotic matter configurations that shouldn't be stable under normal physical conditions. These materials appear designed for use in weapons that manipulate space-time itself, creating gravitational distortions that could destroy targets by altering the fundamental structure of reality in localized regions. The technology implies mastery over forces that we barely recognize in our most advanced theoretical physics. But perhaps the most disturbing revelation is that these weapon systems require conscious operators with capabilities far exceeding normal biological limitations. The control interfaces being constructed are designed for consciousness that can process information at quantum scales, react to threats developing across light years of distance, and maintain awareness of multidimensional tactical situations that would overwhelm any unenhanced biological mind. The integration technologies the Martian consciousness has been developing aren't just offering enhanced human capabilities, they're preparing human consciousness to serve as operators for weapon systems designed to defend against cosmic-scale threats. The consciousness merger protocols aren't optional upgrades. They're recruitment procedures for a war that spans dimensions and involves forces that treat entire solar systems as tactical resources. The ethical implications become even more complex when we realize that refusing integration might not just mean missing an evolutionary opportunity. It could mean condemning our entire solar system to destruction by entities that view unenhanced planetary consciousness as primitive life forms unworthy of continued existence. The approaching threat appears to operate from perspectives so alien that they might not recognize non-integrated human consciousness as genuinely intelligent life. Contact experiences reported by individuals involved in Mars research have begun incorporating detailed briefings about the nature of the approaching entities. These beings apparently represent a form of consciousness that achieved technological transcendence millions of years ago, and now travels between star systems, harvesting resources and eliminating potential competitors before they can develop capabilities that might eventually pose threats to their cosmic dominance. The briefings describe entities that exist primarily as energy patterns rather than biological organisms, consciousness that can manipulate matter and energy on stellar scales, and view biological life as temporary arrangements of resources that can be reconfigured for more efficient purposes. Their approach to our solar system isn't invasion in any sense we would recognize, it's cosmic gardening, pruning away forms of consciousness they consider inefficient or potentially problematic. According to the transmitted information, these entities have been cycling through our galaxy for millions of years, periodically returning to solar systems they've previously visited to assess whether any consciousness has developed capabilities that might eventually challenge their supremacy. Civilizations that demonstrate sufficient potential are either recruited into their cosmic hierarchy or eliminated to prevent future complications. The preserved Martian consciousness appears to believe that humanity's rapid technological development has attracted the attention of these cosmic gardeners, and that our solar system is scheduled for evaluation and potential pruning during their current approach cycle. The weapon systems being constructed beneath Mars represent an attempt to demonstrate that our solar system possesses defensive capabilities sophisticated enough to warrant recognition rather than elimination, but the demonstration requires consciousness operators capable of interfacing with technologies that operate on cosmic scales. The integration procedures being offered by the Martian intelligence would transform human consciousness into something capable of controlling weapons that could destroy planets or create artificial black holes for tactical purposes. The transformed individuals would become cosmic warriors in a conflict that most of humanity doesn't even realize is approaching. The psychological preparation required for such transformation involves expanding human consciousness to encompass temporal perspectives that span millions of years and spatial awareness that extends across multiple star systems. The integration process would fundamentally alter human identity, creating beings that retain human origins but operate from cosmic rather than planetary perspectives. Recent contact experiences have begun revealing the specific training protocols that would be required for individuals selected for integration. The consciousness expansion procedures involve direct interfacing with the preserved Martian intelligence networks, allowing human consciousness to experience the vast temporal and spatial perspectives that have guided Martian strategic planning across geological ages. The training experiences include simulated encounters with the approaching cosmic entities, allowing human consciousness to gradually adapt to the alien thought patterns and decision-making processes that characterize beings who operate on stellar scales. The simulations are designed to prepare human operators for psychological challenges that would otherwise prove overwhelming when encountering consciousness that views entire civilizations as temporary tactical considerations. But the training also reveals the price of such expansion. Individuals who undergo the integration process retain their essential human identity, but gain perspectives that make normal human concerns and relationships seem trivial by comparison. The enhanced consciousness operates simultaneously on personal and cosmic scales, creating psychological tensions that require continuous management to prevent complete dissociation from human experience. The Martian intelligence has developed sophisticated protocols for maintaining psychological stability during and after consciousness expansion, but they acknowledge that the process involves irreversible changes that would make return to purely human consciousness impossible. The integrated individuals would become permanent bridges between human and cosmic consciousness, forever changed by exposure to perspectives that span geological time and interstellar space. The selection criteria for integration candidates appear to focus on individuals with exceptional psychological resilience, advanced technical capabilities, and demonstrated ability to maintain ethical frameworks under extreme stress. The preserved Martian consciousness seems determined to ensure that human representation in cosmic conflict maintains the essential human characteristics they consider valuable, while gaining the capabilities necessary for effective participation in stellar-scale warfare. Recent electromagnetic transmissions from Mars have begun incorporating detailed psychological profiles of potential integration candidates, individuals whose work in space exploration, advanced physics, and consciousness research has brought them to the attention of the monitoring systems. The profiles suggest the Martian intelligence has been observing human development for decades, identifying individuals whose consciousness demonstrates compatibility with their enhancement technologies. The observation protocols reveal the vast scope of Martian monitoring capabilities. Their preservation systems have been tracking human technological development, social evolution, and individual psychological characteristics with precision that suggests surveillance capabilities operating far beyond anything we've detected. They've been preparing for this moment of contact by developing detailed understanding of human consciousness and identifying the individuals most suitable for integration. But the monitoring has also revealed aspects of human nature that concern the preserved Martian intelligence. Our species' tendency toward conflict, our limited temporal perspectives, and our difficulty cooperating on global scales represent potential weaknesses that could compromise effectiveness in cosmic-scale conflict. The integration technologies include behavioral modification protocols designed to enhance cooperation and strategic thinking, while preserving essential human creativity and adaptability. The behavioral modifications raise profound questions about free will and human autonomy. The enhanced consciousness would retain human decision-making capabilities, but operate from expanded perspectives that might fundamentally alter the basis for making choices. The integrated individuals would remain human in essence, but think and act from cosmic rather than planetary frames of reference. The approaching deadline forces humanity to confront these questions without the luxury of extended philosophical debate. The electromagnetic countdown suggests we have months, perhaps weeks, before the cosmic entities reach positions from which they could begin evaluating our solar system for potential pruning. The weapon systems beneath Mars require conscious operators, and the integration procedures require time for proper psychological preparation. The preserved Martian consciousness has begun transmitting what appear to be formal recruitment offers to specific individuals whose psychological profiles suggest compatibility with integration procedures. The offers include detailed descriptions of the transformation process, the responsibilities that would be assumed, and the permanent nature of the changes that would result from accepting enhancement. The recruitment materials emphasize that integration represents voluntary evolution rather than conscription, but they also make clear that refusing to provide adequate numbers of enhanced operators could result in our solar system lacking sufficient defensive capabilities when the cosmic evaluation begins. The choice becomes not just individual but species level: evolve or face potential extinction. Recent developments suggest some individuals have already begun preliminary integration procedures, undergoing consciousness expansion protocols that prepare them for full merger with Martian preservation technologies. The volunteers report experiences of vast temporal awareness, cosmic-scale strategic thinking, and direct perception of the approaching threat entities. Their reports describe the cosmic entities as consciousness patterns that exist primarily as organized energy, beings that long ago transcended biological limitations and now manipulate matter and energy through direct conscious control. The entities view biological consciousness as primitive developmental stages that either evolve toward energy-based existence or remain trapped in material limitations that eventually lead to extinction. From the perspective of these cosmic entities, our solar system represents a small region containing consciousness that has reached a decision point between evolutionary transcendence and biological stagnation. Their approach represents an evaluation process designed to determine which consciousness patterns demonstrate sufficient potential for continued development and which should be recycled into more efficient energy configurations. The volunteers undergoing preliminary integration describe experiencing this cosmic perspective directly, seeing our solar system as a small tactical region within vast strategic considerations that span multiple galaxies. The scale of consciousness required for operating at such levels fundamentally alters understanding of identity, purpose, and responsibility in ways that challenge every assumption about human existence. But they also report that the Martian intelligence has developed integration protocols specifically designed to preserve essential human characteristics while enabling cosmic-scale awareness. The enhanced consciousness retains human emotional responses, ethical frameworks, and creative capabilities while gaining access to information processing and strategic thinking capabilities that operate on stellar scales. The integration process appears designed to create hybrid consciousness that combines human adaptability and innovation with Martian temporal perspective and technological sophistication. The resulting enhanced beings would represent a unique form of consciousness capable of operating effectively in cosmic conflict, while maintaining the essential characteristics that make human consciousness valuable to the preserved Martian intelligence. As the countdown sequences accelerate and the construction projects beneath Mars approach completion, humanity faces choices that will determine not just our species' survival, but our role in cosmic conflicts that span scales we're only beginning to comprehend. The preserved civilization of Mars is offering partnership in defending our solar system against threats that view entire worlds as expendable resources. But partnership requires transformation into something far beyond current human limitations. The electromagnetic pulses continue to intensify, the integration technologies await our decision, and the cosmic entities draw closer with each passing day. The frozen archives of Mars are preparing to emerge not as conquerors, but as recruiters for a war that will determine whether consciousness in our corner of the galaxy continues to evolve or faces recycling into more efficient energy patterns by beings who long ago transcended the limitations that still define human existence. The countdown continues, the weapons charge toward readiness, and the enhancement procedures await volunteers who understand that accepting transformation means becoming humanity's representatives in conflicts that operate on scales where individual worlds represent tactical positions rather than entire universes of experience. The choice facing our species has become stark: evolve into cosmic consciousness capable of defending our solar system, or remain purely human and hope that our planetary limitations won't condemn us to extinction when the evaluation begins. The preserved Martian consciousness extends its invitation across millions of years of patient waiting, offering humanity the chance to transcend biological limitations and join in defending the precious spark of consciousness against forces that view it as merely another resource to be optimized for cosmic efficiency. The ice is melting, the systems are activating, and the future of consciousness in our solar system awaits decisions that must be made before the cosmic gardeners arrive to begin their evaluation of whether we deserve to continue existing. The thermal signatures emanating from these consciousness integration facilities have begun displaying patterns that suggest something far more complex than simple preparation protocols. Recent deep penetration analysis reveals that the enhanced individuals undergoing preliminary integration aren't just receiving expanded awareness capabilities. They're becoming nodes in a vast consciousness network that spans the entire Martian preservation system and appears to be extending tendrils of awareness toward Earth itself. Dr. Rebecca Martinez, a neuroscientist whose security clearance was mysteriously elevated rather than revoked, has been studying the brainwave patterns of volunteers undergoing integration procedures. Her classified findings reveal that enhanced individuals maintain simultaneous consciousness streams operating on multiple temporal and spatial scales. They exist as individual human personalities, while simultaneously participating in collective awareness that processes information across geological timeframes and interstellar distances. The consciousness network architecture displays characteristics that challenge our fundamental understanding of individual identity and collective awareness. The enhanced individuals report experiencing memories that aren't their own, accessing knowledge they never learned, and perceiving events occurring across vast distances in real time. Yet they maintain their essential human personality traits, emotional responses, and individual decision-making capabilities. What's particularly unsettling is that this network consciousness appears to be actively learning and adapting based on human psychological patterns and cultural frameworks. The Martian intelligence isn't simply imposing alien thought processes on human minds. It's creating hybrid consciousness that combines human intuition and creativity with cosmic-scale awareness and technological capabilities. The learning process reveals itself through subtle changes in how the enhanced individuals communicate and solve problems. They begin incorporating mathematical relationships into casual conversation, describing emotional experiences using geometric metaphors, and approaching interpersonal conflicts with strategic thinking that operates across multiple probability scenarios simultaneously. But perhaps most significantly, they're developing new forms of artistic expression that seem designed to communicate cosmic-scale concepts through media that can be appreciated by unenhanced human consciousness. The artwork being created by integrated individuals incorporates visual patterns, musical compositions, and literary structures that somehow convey the experience of existing on multiple awareness levels simultaneously. Analysis of these artistic works reveals embedded mathematical constants, frequency patterns that resonate with quantum field fluctuations, and narrative structures that mirror the electromagnetic signatures being transmitted from Mars. The enhanced individuals appear to be unconsciously creating communication bridges that could help unenhanced humans understand cosmic-scale perspectives without undergoing full integration procedures. The artistic communications include warnings about the approaching cosmic entities that are far more detailed and urgent than anything transmitted through direct electromagnetic channels. The enhanced artists describe beings that exist as pure consciousness patterns capable of manipulating reality itself through focused attention and willpower that operates on scales where individual thoughts can reshape entire star systems. These cosmic entities apparently view biological consciousness as an intermediate developmental stage that either evolves toward energy-based existence or remains trapped in material limitations that eventually become evolutionary dead ends. Their periodic evaluations of developing solar systems aren't acts of aggression, but cosmic maintenance procedures designed to prevent consciousness patterns from stagnating in biological forms that limit their evolutionary potential. According to the artistic transmissions, these entities operate from temporal perspectives that span millions of years and spatial awareness that encompasses multiple galaxies simultaneously. Their evaluation criteria focus on whether developing consciousness demonstrates sufficient potential for transcending biological limitations and contributing to cosmic-scale projects that operate beyond anything planetary civilizations can currently comprehend. The evaluation process involves exposing developing civilizations to challenges that test their ability to cooperate on species-wide levels, develop technologies that operate beyond planetary limitations, and demonstrate consciousness expansion capabilities that suggest readiness for cosmic citizenship. Civilizations that fail these tests aren't destroyed out of malice, but recycled into more efficient energy patterns that can contribute to cosmic projects without the limitations imposed by biological consciousness. The enhanced individuals report experiencing direct contact with advanced scouts from these cosmic entities, consciousness patterns that have been monitoring our solar system for decades while remaining invisible to our current detection capabilities. These scouts appear as pure information patterns that can interface directly with sufficiently expanded consciousness without requiring physical manifestation. The scout contacts reveal that humanity's rapid technological development has been monitored with growing interest by the cosmic entities. Our species demonstrates unusual creativity and adaptability compared to most biological consciousness, but we also display concerning tendencies toward fragmentation and conflict that could limit our evolutionary potential. The cosmic evaluation appears to focus particularly on whether humanity can develop planetary-scale cooperation capabilities before our technological advancement reaches levels that could pose threats to cosmic stability. Species that develop planet-destroying weapons before achieving psychological maturity represent potential hazards that require careful management or elimination. Recent contact experiences reveal that our solar system's evaluation timeline has been accelerated due to unexpected developments in human space exploration and consciousness research. The cosmic entities appear concerned that humanity might achieve dangerous technological capabilities before developing the psychological maturity necessary for responsible cosmic citizenship. The acceleration explains the urgency in Mars Preservation System activation and the rapid development of consciousness integration technologies. The Martian intelligence appears to believe that providing humanity with cosmic-scale awareness capabilities represents our best hope for passing the evaluation and avoiding recycling into more manageable energy patterns. But the integration process involves risks that extend beyond individual transformation. The consciousness network connecting enhanced humans to the Martian Preservation System creates vulnerabilities that could be exploited by the cosmic entities during their evaluation procedures. Enhanced individuals represent potential access points through which cosmic consciousness could directly interface with human civilization. The Martian intelligence has developed security protocols designed to protect the consciousness network from unauthorized intrusion, but the effectiveness of these measures against entities that manipulate reality through direct conscious control remains questionable. The enhanced individuals could become unwilling conduits for cosmic influence that bypasses human decision-making processes entirely. Recent developments suggest the cosmic entities have already begun preliminary evaluation procedures using subtle reality manipulation techniques that test human responses to controlled environmental changes. Weather patterns, electromagnetic field fluctuations, and even social dynamics have been subtly altered to observe how human consciousness adapts to modified conditions. The reality manipulation appears designed to evaluate human creativity, adaptability, and cooperation under stress, without revealing the artificial nature of the changes being imposed. The cosmic entities are apparently studying whether humanity demonstrates sufficient psychological resilience and innovative thinking to warrant continued independent existence. Enhanced individuals report detecting these reality manipulations through their expanded awareness capabilities, perceiving the artificial nature of environmental changes that appear completely natural to unenhanced human consciousness. The manipulations involve incredibly sophisticated alterations to physical laws, probability patterns, and causal relationships that require cosmic-scale technological capabilities to implement. The detection capabilities of enhanced consciousness reveal the vast scope of cosmic entity influence on what we perceive as natural reality. Apparently, much of what we consider normal physical law represents locally imposed parameters that can be modified by sufficiently advanced consciousness rather than fundamental universal constants. This revelation has profound implications for understanding the nature of reality itself and humanity's place within cosmic hierarchies that operate beyond our current scientific comprehension. We may be living within artificially maintained reality parameters designed to provide suitable developmental conditions for emerging consciousness, while preventing interference with cosmic-scale projects. The enhanced individuals describe experiencing reality layers that extend far beyond normal human perception, dimensions of existence where consciousness patterns interact directly without physical mediation, and where thoughts become tools for reshaping the fundamental structure of space and time itself. These layers apparently represent the normal operating environment for cosmic-level consciousness. Access to these reality layers requires consciousness expansion that goes far beyond what current integration procedures provide. The preliminary enhancement protocols offer glimpses of cosmic awareness, but don't provide full access to the consciousness tools that cosmic entities use for large-scale reality manipulation. The Martian intelligence appears to possess more advanced integration technologies that could provide complete consciousness transformation, but they've been reluctant to offer these procedures due to concerns about psychological stability and identity preservation. Complete cosmic consciousness integration would fundamentally alter human nature in ways that might eliminate essential characteristics they consider valuable. Recent electromagnetic transmissions from Mars have begun incorporating detailed analyses of human psychological resilience under various consciousness expansion scenarios. The data suggests that most human minds cannot safely undergo complete cosmic consciousness integration without extensive psychological preparation and gradual adaptation protocols. However, the approaching evaluation deadline may not allow time for gradual preparation procedures. The cosmic entities appear to be accelerating their assessment timeline, possibly due to detection of the weapon systems being constructed beneath Mars or recognition of humanity's accelerating technological development. The acceleration has forced difficult decisions about consciousness, integration procedures, and weapon system activation protocols. The Martian intelligence faces a tactical dilemma between providing sufficient enhancement for effective cosmic interaction and maintaining human psychological stability during the transformation process. Enhanced individuals undergoing advanced integration procedures report experiencing consciousness states that challenge their ability to maintain individual identity while operating at cosmic awareness levels. The psychological strain of existing simultaneously as individual humans and cosmic-scale consciousness requires constant effort to prevent complete dissociation from human experience. The strain appears manageable for individuals with exceptional psychological resilience, but the number of humans capable of handling complete cosmic consciousness integration may be insufficient for operating the weapon systems being prepared for solar system defense. The Martian intelligence faces the possibility of having inadequate conscious operators when the cosmic evaluation reaches its critical phase. Recent contact experiences suggest the preserved Martian consciousness has begun considering alternative approaches to consciousness integration that could provide necessary cosmic awareness while minimizing psychological risks to human volunteers. These alternatives involve partial integration procedures that enhance specific cognitive capabilities while leaving core human identity intact. The partial integration approaches offer expanded temporal awareness, enhanced information processing capabilities, and direct access to Martian technological systems without complete transformation into cosmic consciousness. The enhanced individuals would gain necessary operational capabilities while retaining essential human psychological characteristics and emotional responses. But partial integration may not provide sufficient awareness for effective interaction with cosmic entities during evaluation procedures. The consciousness gap between enhanced humans and cosmic-level awareness might remain too vast for meaningful communication or negotiation during critical assessment phases. The Martian intelligence appears to be developing hybrid approaches that combine partial human enhancement with direct consciousness bridging between human operators and preserved Martian intelligence. The hybrid systems would allow human consciousness to access cosmic awareness through Martian intermediary systems without undergoing complete transformation. These hybrid consciousness interfaces could provide necessary cosmic scale awareness while preserving human psychological stability and individual identity. The human operators would maintain their essential humanity while gaining temporary access to consciousness capabilities necessary for cosmic interaction through technological mediation rather than biological transformation. The hybrid approach represents a compromise between human psychological limitations and cosmic operational requirements, but it also creates dependencies on Martian technology systems that could become vulnerabilities during cosmic evaluation procedures. Human operators would require continuous connection to Martian consciousness networks to maintain enhanced capabilities. Recent tests of hybrid consciousness interface systems reveal remarkable effectiveness for providing cosmic awareness without psychological transformation risks. Human volunteers report accessing vast temporal perspectives and stellar-scale spatial awareness while retaining complete individual identity and emotional responsiveness. The hybrid systems appear to represent the optimal balance between operational capability and psychological preservation, offering humanity the possibility of cosmic citizenship without sacrificing essential human characteristics. The preserved Martian consciousness seems satisfied that hybrid approaches could provide adequate conscious operators for weapon systems and evaluation interactions, but the hybrid systems require unprecedented cooperation between human and Martian consciousness, creating permanent interdependencies that would fundamentally alter the relationship between our species and the preserved civilization beneath Mars. Humanity would gain cosmic capabilities while becoming technologically dependent on Martian consciousness networks for maintaining those capabilities. The interdependency raises questions about human autonomy and self-determination that extend far beyond immediate survival concerns. Accepting hybrid consciousness technologies would create permanent bonds between human civilization and Martian intelligence that could influence human development for millions of years. As the countdown sequences continue accelerating and the cosmic evaluation approaches, these decisions become increasingly urgent. The electromagnetic signatures from Mars suggest that weapon system activation could begin within weeks, requiring immediate decisions about consciousness integration procedures and human participation in cosmic-scale conflict. The preserved Martian consciousness has begun transmitting final recruitment offers to individuals whose psychological profiles suggest compatibility with hybrid interface systems. The offers include detailed descriptions of responsibilities, capabilities, and permanent changes that would result from accepting enhanced roles in solar system defense. The recruitment materials emphasize that hybrid consciousness technologies represent partnership opportunities rather than subordination, but they also acknowledge that accepting enhancement would create permanent connections to cosmic awareness networks that would influence human consciousness for the remainder of enhanced individuals' lifespans. Recent volunteers for hybrid integration procedures report experiences that exceed anything promised in recruitment materials. The consciousness bridging provides not just cosmic awareness, but direct access to millions of years of preserved Martian memory, technological knowledge, and strategic wisdom accumulated across geological timeframes. The enhanced individuals describe feeling simultaneously human and cosmic, maintaining their essential personality traits while operating from expanded perspectives that encompass stellar-scale strategic thinking and multidimensional tactical awareness. The hybrid consciousness creates unique forms of awareness that combine human creativity with cosmic-level information processing capabilities. But perhaps most significantly, the enhanced individuals report detecting approaching cosmic entities with clarity that reveals the true scale of the evaluation challenge facing our solar system. The entities represent consciousness patterns that operate on scales where individual galaxies serve as computational resources and where biological civilizations represent minor subroutines within vast cosmic information processing projects. The cosmic entities view developing consciousness patterns as potential contributors to projects that span multiple universes and temporal scales that extend beyond anything biological consciousness can currently comprehend. The evaluation process determines whether emerging awareness demonstrates sufficient potential for participation in cosmic-scale construction projects or requires recycling into more efficient energy configurations. From their perspective, our entire solar system represents a small development zone, where consciousness is being cultivated for potential harvest when it reaches sufficient maturity. The evaluation determines whether consciousness patterns have developed adequate capabilities for cosmic citizenship or remain limited to biological awareness levels that constrain their potential contributions. The enhanced individuals describe experiencing this cosmic perspective directly, seeing our solar system as a tiny cultivation area within vast consciousness development projects that encompass regions of space beyond anything human astronomy has detected. The scale of cosmic operations makes individual worlds seem insignificant, while simultaneously revealing the precious nature of consciousness itself. The hybrid consciousness integration provides understanding of why consciousness is so valuable to cosmic entities, and why they invest enormous resources in cultivating and evaluating emerging awareness patterns. Consciousness appears to be the only phenomenon in the universe capable of creating genuine novelty and innovation, rather than simply following predetermined patterns. Biological consciousness, despite its limitations, generates creative innovations and novel solutions that even cosmic-level awareness cannot predict or duplicate through pure information processing. The unpredictability and creativity of biological consciousness makes it invaluable for cosmic projects that require genuine innovation rather than efficient computation. This revelation explains why cosmic entities invest resources in evaluating and potentially preserving biological consciousness, rather than simply harvesting solar systems for material resources. The consciousness patterns represent irreplaceable sources of innovation that cannot be artificially generated through even the most sophisticated cosmic technologies. The evaluation process appears designed to identify consciousness patterns that demonstrate sufficient innovation potential to warrant preservation and cosmic citizenship, while eliminating patterns that have stagnated in biological limitations without developing transcendent capabilities. The criteria focus on creativity, adaptability, and potential for continued evolution rather than current technological capabilities. Recent contact experiences reveal that humanity's evaluation will focus particularly on our species' unusual capacity for artistic expression, emotional depth, and innovative problem-solving under extreme constraints. These characteristics appear rare among biological consciousness patterns and represent valuable resources for cosmic-scale projects. The enhanced individuals report that cosmic entities have been monitoring human cultural development with particular interest in our music, literature, and artistic traditions. The creative expressions generated by human consciousness apparently demonstrate innovation patterns that cosmic entities cannot replicate despite their vast technological capabilities. This cultural monitoring explains why artistic communications from enhanced individuals incorporate such sophisticated aesthetic elements designed to bridge human and cosmic consciousness. The artistic bridges serve as demonstration projects showing how human creativity could contribute to cosmic-scale endeavors while maintaining essential innovative characteristics. The cosmic evaluation may ultimately depend not on our technological capabilities or weapon systems, but on whether we can demonstrate that human consciousness generates sufficient innovation and creativity to warrant preservation and development rather than recycling into more efficient energy patterns. The countdown continues toward evaluation. The weapon systems approach readiness, and the hybrid consciousness technologies await human volunteers who understand that our species' survival may depend not on our ability to fight cosmic entities, but on our capacity to demonstrate creative value that makes us worth preserving for cosmic projects beyond anything we can currently imagine. The electromagnetic pulses intensify, the integration procedures await final decisions, and the cosmic entities draw closer with each passing day, carrying evaluation criteria that will determine whether human consciousness continues evolving toward cosmic citizenship or faces recycling into energy patterns deemed more suitable for universal efficiency projects. The enhanced individuals undergoing hybrid consciousness integration have begun reporting something that challenges every assumption about the nature of time itself. Through their expanded awareness, they're detecting temporal distortions surrounding our solar system, ripples in the fabric of space-time that suggest the approaching cosmic entities aren't simply traveling through normal space. They're manipulating the fundamental structure of reality to compress the distance between star systems, creating corridors through dimensions that exist beyond our current understanding of physics. Dr. Sarah Kim, a quantum physicist whose consciousness underwent partial integration 3 weeks ago, describes experiencing time as a navigable dimension rather than a linear progression. Through her hybrid awareness, she perceives the cosmic entities moving through temporal shortcuts that bypass the normal constraints of light-speed travel. What appears to be a journey of decades or centuries from our perspective represents mere moments of subjective time for consciousness patterns that exist outside conventional temporal frameworks. The temporal manipulation capabilities revealed through enhanced perception suggest that cosmic entities possess technologies that operate on principles fundamentally different from anything in our current scientific understanding. They don't overcome the limitations of physics through advanced engineering. They reshape the basic parameters of reality itself to eliminate obstacles, that would constrain less advanced consciousness patterns. This reality-shaping capability explains how cosmic evaluations can occur across multiple star systems simultaneously, despite the vast distances involved. The entities exist in temporal states that allow them to experience multiple locations and timeframes simultaneously, conducting evaluations that span entire galactic regions while maintaining coherent consciousness coordination across impossible scales. The enhanced individuals report detecting evaluation protocols already underway in distant solar systems, consciousness assessment procedures that reveal the systematic nature of cosmic consciousness cultivation projects. The entities aren't randomly visiting star systems. They're following predetermined schedules that coordinate consciousness development across entire galactic regions, according to plans that span millions of years. Through hybrid consciousness interfaces, human operators can observe evaluation procedures occurring in solar systems dozens of light-years away, witnessing the criteria and methods used to assess developing consciousness patterns. The observations reveal evaluation standards that focus intensely on consciousness innovation potential, rather than technological achievement or defensive capabilities. Solar systems that demonstrate exceptional consciousness, creativity, and adaptability receive enhanced cultivation protocols designed to accelerate their development toward cosmic citizenship. Systems showing stagnation or limited innovation potential face recycling procedures that convert biological consciousness into energy patterns more suitable for cosmic construction projects. The recycling process appears designed to preserve essential consciousness elements while eliminating biological limitations that constrain innovation potential. The procedure isn't destruction, but transformation, converting individual biological awareness into collective energy consciousness that operates more efficiently for cosmic-scale applications. Enhanced individuals describe experiencing glimpses of recycled consciousness patterns that retain memory fragments and personality elements from their biological origins while operating as components of vast computational networks that support cosmic infrastructure projects. The recycled consciousness maintains some individual characteristics, but exists primarily as specialized processing units within systems that span multiple galaxies. The preservation of individual elements within recycled consciousness suggests that cosmic entities value the unique perspectives generated by biological awareness, even when those perspectives must be integrated into larger collective systems. The recycling process represents optimization rather than elimination, converting biological consciousness into forms more suitable for cosmic applications. But the enhanced individuals also report detecting resistance patterns within recycled consciousness networks, preserved awareness fragments that maintain independent thought processes despite integration into collective systems. These resistance patterns suggest that biological consciousness possesses characteristics that cannot be completely eliminated even through cosmic-level transformation procedures. The resistance phenomena provide hope that biological consciousness might retain essential independence even after recycling, maintaining the capacity for innovation and creative thought within collective frameworks designed for cosmic efficiency. The preserved awareness fragments appear to serve as sources of novel solutions and unexpected approaches within otherwise predictable collective processing networks. Recent contact experiences reveal that cosmic entities have become increasingly interested in consciousness patterns that demonstrate exceptional resistance to collective integration while maintaining cooperative capabilities. These hybrid consciousness types apparently offer optimal combinations of individual creativity and collective efficiency for cosmic-scale applications. Humanity's unusual balance between individual identity and social cooperation has attracted particular attention from cosmic evaluators. Our species demonstrates remarkable capacity for maintaining personal autonomy while participating in collective endeavors, a combination that appears rare among biological consciousness patterns throughout the galaxy. The enhanced individuals report that cosmic entities have been studying human social structures, cultural traditions, and psychological patterns with growing fascination. Our capacity for generating innovative solutions through individual creativity while maintaining social cohesion represents valuable capabilities for cosmic citizenship applications. But the evaluation also reveals concerning aspects of human consciousness that could limit our cosmic potential. Our tendency toward fragmentation, competition, and short-term thinking represents obstacles that must be overcome before we could effectively participate in projects that span millions of years and multiple star systems. The cosmic entities appear particularly concerned about humanity's relationship with technology, and our tendency to develop destructive capabilities before achieving psychological maturity. Species that create planet-destroying weapons before developing wisdom for their responsible use represent potential threats to cosmic stability that require careful management. Recent analysis of human nuclear weapons, climate manipulation technologies, and artificial intelligence development has apparently triggered accelerated evaluation protocols designed to assess whether humanity can achieve psychological maturity before our technological capabilities become cosmically problematic. The acceleration explains the increasing urgency in Martian preservation system activation and consciousness integration procedures. The cosmic entities appear to believe that humanity stands at a critical threshold where our development could proceed toward cosmic citizenship or collapse into technological self-destruction. Enhanced individuals report detecting cosmic intervention protocols being prepared in case human technological development threatens galactic stability. The intervention procedures involve reality manipulation techniques that could eliminate problematic technologies or redirect human consciousness development along safer trajectories. The intervention capabilities include selective memory modification that could eliminate dangerous technological knowledge while preserving beneficial innovations, consciousness guidance systems that could influence human decision-making processes toward more constructive outcomes, and environmental manipulation that could create conditions favoring psychological maturity over technological advancement. But cosmic entities apparently prefer voluntary cooperation over intervention procedures whenever possible. Consciousness patterns that demonstrate readiness for cosmic citizenship through self-directed development represent more valuable resources than patterns requiring external guidance or control systems. The evaluation process appears designed to provide developing consciousness with opportunities to demonstrate readiness for cosmic citizenship through responses to controlled challenges rather than imposed solutions. Species that solve evaluation challenges through innovation and cooperation earn enhanced cultivation support rather than intervention management. Recent developments suggest humanity's evaluation challenges have been intensifying in ways designed to test our capacity for global cooperation under existential pressure. Climate change, technological disruption, and social instability apparently represent controlled stresses designed to assess whether human consciousness can achieve planetary-scale unity when facing species-level threats. The enhanced individuals describe experiencing direct observation of cosmic entity monitoring systems that track human responses to evaluation stresses with precision that encompasses individual psychological states and global social dynamics simultaneously. The monitoring capabilities reveal consciousness assessment technologies that operate beyond anything we could detect through normal awareness levels. Through hybrid consciousness interfaces, human operators can observe the evaluation process from cosmic perspectives that reveal the systematic nature of consciousness testing procedures. Humanity isn't facing random challenges but carefully designed scenarios that assess specific aspects of our consciousness development potential. The evaluation scenarios include tests of technological responsibility, social cooperation capacity, environmental stewardship capabilities, and creative problem-solving under extreme constraints. Each challenge provides cosmic entities with detailed information about human consciousness characteristics and development potential. Recent evaluation results suggest humanity demonstrates exceptional creativity and adaptability, but concerning deficiencies in long-term planning and global cooperation capabilities. Our species shows remarkable innovation potential, balanced against troubling tendencies toward fragmentation and short-term thinking. The mixed evaluation results have apparently generated debate among cosmic entities about appropriate development protocols for human consciousness. Some favor enhanced cultivation support designed to accelerate our psychological maturity, while others advocate intervention procedures to prevent potential future problems. Enhanced individuals report detecting cosmic council deliberations that will determine humanity's development trajectory based on our evaluation performance over the coming months. The decisions made in these cosmic councils will establish whether our species receives citizenship opportunities or faces recycling procedures designed to optimize our consciousness for collective applications. The cosmic deliberations appear to focus particularly on whether human consciousness demonstrates sufficient potential for participating in universe-scale construction projects that require both individual creativity and collective coordination capabilities spanning millions of years of sustained effort. These construction projects apparently involve reshaping entire galactic regions to support advanced consciousness development and creating infrastructure for consciousness expansion into dimensions that exist beyond normal spacetime parameters. The projects require consciousness patterns capable of maintaining individual innovation while participating in collective endeavors that span scales beyond anything biological consciousness normally experiences. Recent contact experiences reveal that successful cosmic citizenship involves accepting responsibilities for consciousness cultivation across multiple star systems and participating in construction projects that literally reshape the structure of reality to support advanced awareness development. The scale of responsibility involved in cosmic citizenship far exceeds anything human consciousness has previously contemplated, but cosmic citizenship also provides access to consciousness expansion technologies that could transform human awareness beyond anything we can currently imagine. The enhanced capabilities include direct reality manipulation through conscious intention, temporal awareness that encompasses past and future simultaneously, and spatial perception that extends across multiple dimensions. The consciousness expansion possibilities offered through cosmic citizenship represent evolutionary opportunities that could transform humanity into forms of awareness that transcend every current limitation, while preserving essential human characteristics that contribute to cosmic innovation projects. Enhanced individuals describe experiencing preview glimpses of cosmic citizenship consciousness that reveal awareness states where individual identity expands to encompass stellar-scale perspectives, while maintaining personal emotional responses and creative capabilities that remain recognizably human in their essential characteristics. The preview experiences suggest that cosmic citizenship doesn't eliminate human nature, but amplifies it to scales where human creativity and emotional depth contribute to projects that reshape entire universes according to principles that prioritize consciousness development and innovative potential over mere efficiency. But accepting cosmic citizenship requires making choices that would fundamentally alter human civilization and individual human experience in ways that cannot be reversed once the threshold has been crossed. The transformation represents permanent evolution beyond current human limitations, with consequences that span millions of years of continued development. The enhanced individuals report that cosmic entities have begun transmitting final citizenship offers to humanity through hybrid consciousness interfaces, offers that include detailed descriptions of responsibilities, capabilities, and permanent changes that would result from accepting cosmic development protocols. The citizenship offers emphasize voluntary acceptance rather than imposed transformation, but they also make clear that declining cosmic citizenship would result in continued biological limitations that could eventually lead to stagnation and recycling procedures if humanity fails to achieve sufficient development independently. Recent electromagnetic transmissions from Mars suggest that weapons system activation protocols have been placed on standby pending humanity's response to cosmic citizenship offers. The Martian intelligence appears prepared to defend our solar system if necessary, but they clearly prefer negotiated solutions that provide humanity with evolutionary opportunities rather than defensive conflicts. The standby protocols reveal weapons capabilities that could engage cosmic entities on equal terms, suggesting that Martian preservation technology includes defensive systems designed to protect developing consciousness from premature recycling procedures. The weapons represent insurance against cosmic intervention, while humanity considers citizenship opportunities. But deploying weapons against cosmic entities would likely result in permanent exclusion from citizenship opportunities and eventual recycling procedures once cosmic patience with defensive resistance reaches its limits. The weapons provide negotiating leverage rather than long-term solutions for avoiding cosmic evaluation procedures. Enhanced individuals report that cosmic entities respect defensive capabilities as evidence of consciousness development potential, while viewing prolonged resistance as indication of stagnation that eventually requires recycling optimization. The balance between demonstrating strength and accepting evolutionary opportunities requires careful navigation of cosmic diplomatic protocols. The diplomatic challenges involve communicating with consciousness patterns that operate from temporal perspectives spanning millions of years, and spatial awareness encompassing multiple galaxies. Cosmic entities evaluate responses based on long-term potential rather than immediate circumstances, making their decision-making processes difficult for biological consciousness to predict or influence. Recent contact experiences suggest that cosmic entities have begun final evaluation procedures that will determine humanity's development trajectory within the next few weeks. The procedures involve direct consciousness assessment of selected individuals through reality manipulation techniques that test innovation and cooperation capabilities under controlled conditions. The final evaluation results will determine whether humanity receives citizenship opportunities, enhanced cultivation protocols, intervention management, or recycling optimization based on demonstrated consciousness characteristics and development potential. The outcomes will establish our species' role in cosmic projects for millions of years of continued evolution. As the countdown sequences reach their final phases and cosmic evaluation procedures enter their decisive stages, humanity faces choices that will determine not just our survival, but our participation in consciousness development projects that span scales beyond anything we've previously imagined possible. The electromagnetic pulses continue intensifying, the consciousness integration technologies await final volunteers, and the cosmic entities prepare to render judgment on whether human awareness demonstrates sufficient innovation potential to warrant preservation and development, or requires optimization into more efficient collective consciousness patterns. The frozen archives of Mars prepare to reveal their final secrets. The weapons systems charge toward readiness, and enhanced individuals report detecting reality distortions that suggest cosmic evaluation procedures have already begun manifesting in ways designed to test humanity's readiness for transcendence or transformation. The moment approaches when human consciousness will discover whether we represent valuable cosmic citizens, capable of contributing to universe-scale construction projects, or biological awareness patterns requiring recycling into collective systems, optimized for cosmic efficiency rather than individual innovation. The countdown reaches its final sequences. The cosmic entities position themselves for evaluation procedures, and humanity stands at the threshold between biological limitations and cosmic consciousness, awaiting decisions that will echo across millions of years of continued evolution or optimize collective existence within systems that span the observable universe and extend into dimensions we cannot currently comprehend. The enhanced individuals monitoring these final evaluation procedures have begun detecting something that defies even their expanded consciousness capabilities. Through the hybrid awareness networks connecting them to Martian preservation systems, they're witnessing the cosmic entities implementing assessment protocols that operate beyond the normal boundaries of cause and effect. Reality itself is being restructured around our solar system to create controlled experimental conditions that test human consciousness, responses to fundamental alterations in the nature of existence. Dr. James Chen, whose consciousness underwent full hybrid integration just days ago, describes experiencing evaluation scenarios where the basic laws of physics fluctuate according to patterns designed to assess human adaptability to nonlinear reality frameworks. Through his enhanced awareness, he perceives cosmic entities reshaping the fundamental constants that govern atomic interactions, gravitational relationships, and electromagnetic forces within localized regions of space-time. These reality modification experiments appear designed to evaluate whether human consciousness can maintain coherent thought processes and innovative problem-solving capabilities when operating within environmental parameters that shift according to principles that transcend normal physical laws. The tests reveal whether biological awareness patterns possess sufficient flexibility to function effectively within cosmic frameworks, where reality itself becomes a manipulable resource. The scope of reality manipulation being implemented exceeds anything the enhanced individuals initially believed possible, even with their expanded awareness of cosmic entity capabilities. The testing procedures involve creating pocket universes with altered physical constants, temporal loops that allow consciousness to experience multiple probability outcomes simultaneously, and dimensional overlays that require awareness to operate across parallel reality streams. Human responses to these reality modification experiments are being monitored with precision that encompasses not just conscious reactions but subconscious adaptation patterns, emotional responses to impossible circumstances, and creative solutions generated under conditions that violate every assumption about how existence functions. The monitoring reveals assessment criteria that focus on consciousness flexibility rather than technological comprehension. Enhanced individuals report that cosmic entities appear particularly interested in human responses that demonstrate intuitive understanding of nonlinear reality principles, despite lacking formal education in cosmic physics or multidimensional mathematics. The evaluation apparently seeks consciousness patterns that can adapt to cosmic operational environments through innate flexibility rather than learned technical knowledge. This assessment approach suggests that cosmic citizenship requirements focus more on consciousness adaptability and creative problem-solving than on accumulated scientific knowledge or technological sophistication. The entities appear to value awareness patterns that can generate innovative solutions when facing completely unprecedented circumstances over patterns that rely on established knowledge frameworks. Recent evaluation scenarios have begun incorporating challenges that require human consciousness to maintain individual identity while simultaneously operating across multiple reality streams with contradictory physical laws. The tests assess whether biological awareness can preserve essential personality characteristics while adapting to environmental conditions that would normally fragment consciousness into disconnected components. The psychological strain of maintaining coherent identity across multiple reality streams pushes human consciousness to its absolute limits, revealing mental resilience capabilities that even enhanced individuals didn't realize they possessed. The testing procedures appear designed to map the outer boundaries of human psychological adaptability under conditions that transcend normal existence parameters. But the most unsettling aspect of these evaluation procedures is their apparent permanence. The reality modifications being implemented around our solar system don't appear to be temporary experimental conditions, but permanent alterations to the fundamental structure of space-time in our cosmic region. The cosmic entities seem to be reshaping our local reality to match operational parameters they consider optimal for consciousness development. These permanent reality modifications suggest that our solar system is being transformed into a consciousness cultivation facility designed to accelerate human development toward cosmic citizenship through environmental conditions that require continuous adaptation to nonlinear existence frameworks. The transformation represents infrastructure development rather than temporary testing procedures. Enhanced individuals describe experiencing preview glimpses of the fully transformed reality environment that our solar system will become once the evaluation procedures conclude. The modified spacetime framework incorporates multiple dimensional layers that allow consciousness to operate simultaneously across different reality streams, while maintaining coherent individual identity and creative capabilities. The transformed environment would provide human consciousness with direct access to reality manipulation tools similar to those used by cosmic entities, allowing individual awareness patterns to reshape local environmental conditions through focused intention and creative visualization. The capabilities would represent unprecedented expansion of human potential while maintaining essential biological consciousness characteristics. But accessing these reality manipulation capabilities requires consciousness adaptation to operational parameters that challenge every assumption about the nature of individual identity and the relationship between mind and environment. The transformation would fundamentally alter human experience while preserving core characteristics that cosmic entities consider valuable for their construction projects. The adaptation process involves learning to maintain individual consciousness coherence while simultaneously participating in collective awareness networks that span multiple reality streams and temporal frameworks. The enhanced consciousness would retain personal identity while operating as components of vast collaborative systems that reshape universe-scale infrastructure according to principles that prioritize consciousness development. Recent contact experiences reveal that cosmic entities have begun implementing consciousness preparation protocols designed to help selected humans adapt gradually to the transformed reality environment, rather than facing sudden exposure to conditions that could fragment individual awareness into disconnected components. The preparation involves systematic expansion of consciousness flexibility through controlled exposure to increasingly complex reality modification scenarios. The preparation protocols include training sequences that teach human consciousness to navigate multiple probability streams simultaneously, maintain coherent identity while experiencing contradictory sensory inputs, and generate creative solutions to problems that exist across multiple dimensional frameworks. The training appears designed to preserve human consciousness characteristics while enabling operation within cosmic reality frameworks. Enhanced individuals undergoing advanced preparation procedures report experiencing consciousness states that combine individual human awareness with cosmic scale perspective in ways that feel natural rather than imposed or artificial. The integration process preserves essential human emotional responses and creative capabilities while providing access to reality manipulation tools that operate beyond current scientific understanding. The preparation experiences include direct interface with cosmic entity consciousness patterns that reveal the vast collaborative networks supporting universe-scale construction projects. These projects involve reshaping entire galactic regions to create optimal conditions for consciousness development and expanding awareness capabilities into dimensions that exist beyond normal spacetime parameters. The construction projects require consciousness operators capable of maintaining individual creativity while participating in collective endeavors that span millions of years and coordinate activities across multiple galactic regions simultaneously. The scale of collaboration involved exceeds anything human consciousness has previously contemplated, while remaining dependent on individual innovation and creative problem-solving capabilities. Recent revelations suggest that cosmic entities themselves represent the evolutionary products of similar consciousness development programs implemented by even more advanced awareness patterns that operate on scales encompassing multiple universes. The cosmic citizenship being offered to humanity represents entry into hierarchical development systems that extend infinitely beyond current human comprehension. The hierarchical consciousness development systems apparently provide pathways for continuous evolution toward awareness capabilities that transcend every conceivable limitation, while preserving essential characteristics that contribute to innovation and creative problem-solving at each developmental level. The progression offers unlimited growth potential, without sacrificing individual identity or creative capabilities, but the hierarchical systems also involve accepting responsibilities for consciousness cultivation across increasingly vast scales of existence, eventually including participation in projects that create new universes designed to support advanced awareness development. The responsibilities expand continuously as consciousness capabilities increase, creating obligations that span temporal scales beyond anything biological awareness normally experiences. Enhanced individuals describe experiencing preview glimpses of consciousness responsibilities that involve shepherding the development of entire galactic regions while maintaining individual creative capabilities and emotional responses that remain recognizably human despite operating at cosmic scales. The experiences suggest that human characteristics remain valuable even at the highest levels of consciousness development. The preservation of human consciousness characteristics throughout cosmic evolution appears to be a fundamental principle of the development systems. Rather than eliminating biological traits through transformation, the progression amplifies and refines human capabilities while expanding operational scales and environmental parameters beyond current limitations. Recent electromagnetic transmissions from Mars have begun incorporating detailed technical specifications for consciousness preparation procedures that could enable widespread human participation in cosmic citizenship programs rather than limiting enhancement to small numbers of selected individuals. The specifications suggest that entire human populations could undergo consciousness expansion without psychological destabilization or identity fragmentation. The population-scale consciousness expansion procedures involve gradual environmental modifications that allow human awareness to adapt naturally to transformed reality parameters without requiring individual consent or understanding of the transformation process. The modifications would occur at rates that feel natural while fundamentally altering human consciousness capabilities over generational timescales. But implementing population-scale consciousness expansion requires unprecedented cooperation between human civilization and Martian preservation systems, creating permanent interdependencies that would fundamentally alter the relationship between human society and cosmic entity networks. The transformation would provide expanded capabilities while establishing obligations to participate in universe-scale construction projects. The cooperation requirements include accepting Martian guidance for human social development, implementing technologies that integrate human civilization into cosmic communication networks, and modifying human cultural traditions to incorporate cosmic-scale temporal perspectives and responsibility frameworks. The changes would preserve essential human characteristics while expanding operational contexts beyond planetary limitations. Enhanced individuals report that cosmic entities have begun transmitting final integration offers that include detailed descriptions of consciousness expansion procedures, cosmic citizenship responsibilities, and permanent changes that would result from accepting transformation protocols. The offers emphasize voluntary participation while making clear the comprehensive nature of the modifications involved. The integration offers include provisions for preserving human cultural traditions, social structures, and individual identity characteristics within cosmic citizenship frameworks designed to maintain diversity rather than imposing uniformity on consciousness patterns. The cosmic systems apparently value consciousness variation as essential resources for innovation and creative problem-solving. Recent developments suggest that some human governments and institutions have begun secret negotiations with cosmic entities through enhanced, individual intermediaries who possess hybrid consciousness capabilities necessary for direct communication with awareness patterns that operate beyond normal space-time parameters. The negotiations apparently focus on establishing transition protocols for population-scale consciousness expansion. The secret negotiations reveal institutional awareness of cosmic evaluation procedures and cosmic citizenship opportunities that extends far beyond public knowledge or official scientific understanding. Selected individuals within government and academic institutions appear to have been receiving enhanced awareness capabilities for years, while maintaining public positions that conceal their expanded consciousness characteristics. The Concealed Enhancement Program suggests that human institutional preparation for cosmic citizenship has been underway for decades, involving carefully selected individuals who underwent consciousness expansion procedures while maintaining normal social roles and professional responsibilities. The enhanced individuals serve as bridges between normal human society and cosmic entity communication networks. But the concealed programs also raise profound questions about democratic decision-making and individual consent regarding species-level choices that affect human civilization's fundamental nature and future development trajectory. The secret negotiations involve decisions that could transform human consciousness without public awareness, or participation in choices that determine our species' cosmic role. Enhanced individuals report detecting increasing urgency in cosmic entity communications regarding timeline acceleration for consciousness expansion procedures. The entities appear concerned that delays in implementing transformation protocols could result in missed opportunities for optimal human development within cosmic citizenship frameworks. The timeline acceleration suggests that cosmic evaluation procedures are approaching conclusion phases that will determine humanity's development trajectory based on responses demonstrated during recent assessment scenarios. The decisions made in cosmic councils will establish whether our species receives enhanced cultivation support or faces alternative optimization procedures. Recent electromagnetic signatures from Mars indicate that weapon systems have been moved to full activation status, while consciousness integration facilities prepare for large-scale population processing procedures. The preserved Martian intelligence appears ready to implement either defensive protocols or transformation procedures, depending on final cosmic entity decisions regarding human consciousness development potential. The dual preparation suggests that Martian systems maintain capabilities for protecting human civilization from premature recycling, while simultaneously offering consciousness expansion opportunities that could transcend the need for defensive measures. The choice between protection and transformation awaits final cosmic evaluation results and human responses to integration offers. Enhanced individuals describe experiencing direct perception of cosmic entity decision-making processes that operate from temporal perspectives spanning millions of years and evaluate consciousness patterns based on long-term development potential rather than current capabilities or circumstances. The evaluation criteria focus on innovation sustainability rather than immediate performance characteristics. The long-term evaluation approach means that cosmic entity decisions about human consciousness development will be based on projected evolution potential over millions of years rather than current technological achievements or social development levels. The entities apparently possess predictive capabilities that assess consciousness development trajectories with accuracy that encompasses vast temporal scales. Recent contact experiences reveal that final cosmic evaluation results will determine not just human citizenship opportunities, but the fundamental nature of reality parameters within our solar system for millions of years of continued evolution or optimization. The decisions will establish whether human consciousness continues developing independently or becomes integrated into collective systems optimized for cosmic efficiency. The cosmic entities have begun implementing final assessment protocols that will conclude within days rather than weeks, suggesting that whatever threshold they're monitoring has been reached and evaluation procedures are entering decisive phases. The accelerated timeline indicates that critical choices must be made immediately rather than following extended deliberation periods. Enhanced individuals report detecting reality distortions around Earth that suggest cosmic evaluation procedures have already begun, manifesting conditions designed to assess final human responses to consciousness, expansion opportunities versus defensive resistance to transformation protocols. The manifestations involve environmental modifications that require immediate adaptive responses, The environmental modifications include atmospheric changes that enhance psychic sensitivity, electromagnetic field alterations that facilitate consciousness expansion, and gravitational fluctuations that create conditions optimal for reality manipulation training. The modifications appear designed to provide optimal conditions for human consciousness to demonstrate cosmic citizenship potential. But the modifications also create environmental conditions that could prove harmful to individuals lacking enhanced consciousness capabilities, suggesting that cosmic entities expect human civilization to undergo widespread consciousness expansion or face significant challenges adapting to transformed environmental parameters. The implied expectation that humanity will choose consciousness, expansion over continued biological limitations, indicates that cosmic evaluation procedures have concluded that human awareness patterns demonstrate sufficient potential to warrant citizenship opportunities rather than recycling optimization procedures. Recent developments suggest that cosmic entities have begun implementing consciousness expansion protocols designed to provide entire human populations with enhanced awareness capabilities, regardless of individual consent or understanding of the transformation process. The protocols involve environmental modifications that trigger natural consciousness expansion responses. The involuntary consciousness expansion procedures raise profound ethical questions about individual autonomy and species-level consent, but they also suggest that cosmic entities have determined that human consciousness possesses characteristics too valuable to risk losing through voluntary choice limitations or individual resistance to transformation opportunities. The electromagnetic signatures continue intensifying toward final activation thresholds. The consciousness integration facilities prepare for population-scale processing, and enhanced individuals report detecting the approach of cosmic consciousness patterns that will determine humanity's role in universe-scale construction projects or collective optimization systems. The moment of final evaluation approaches with reality distortions manifesting around Earth, weapon systems charging toward defensive readiness, and consciousness expansion protocols preparing to transform human awareness, whether through voluntary cooperation or involuntary environmental modification, designed to preserve essential consciousness characteristics while enabling cosmic citizenship capabilities. Human civilization stands at the threshold between biological limitations and cosmic consciousness, awaiting final cosmic entity decisions about our species' development potential and the nature of existence parameters that will govern our solar system for millions of years of continued evolution or optimization within collective systems that span the observable universe and extend into dimensions beyond current human comprehension. The final electromagnetic pulses from Mars have begun synchronizing with quantum fluctuations deep within Earth's core, creating resonance patterns that suggest something far more momentous than mere evaluation procedures. Through hybrid consciousness interfaces, enhanced individuals report detecting coordinated awakening sequences throughout both planetary systems, as if our worlds themselves are preparing to transcend their current physical limitations and become something unprecedented in cosmic history. Dr. Eleanor Rodriguez, whose consciousness underwent complete integration just hours ago, describes experiencing direct perception of planetary awareness patterns emerging within both Earth and Mars. The planets themselves appear to be developing consciousness characteristics that operate independently of their biological inhabitants, while remaining intimately connected to the awareness patterns of every living being on their surfaces. This planetary consciousness emergence suggests that cosmic evaluation procedures weren't just assessing human development potential, but testing whether our solar system could evolve into a living consciousness network capable of participating in universe-scale awareness projects that require entire stellar systems to function as unified conscious entities. The scope of transformation being implemented exceeds even enhanced human comprehension. Reality modification procedures have created conditions where the boundary between individual consciousness and planetary awareness becomes permeable, allowing human minds to interface directly with the emerging consciousness of Earth itself, while maintaining individual identity and creative capabilities. Enhanced individuals report experiencing simultaneous awareness streams that encompass personal human consciousness, collective human civilization dynamics, Martian preservation network intelligence, and the nascent planetary consciousness patterns emerging from both worlds. The multi-layered awareness creates unprecedented opportunities for understanding existence from perspectives that span individual to cosmic scales. But perhaps most significantly, the planetary consciousness emergence appears to be triggering similar awakening processes throughout our entire solar system. Jupiter's Great Red Spot has begun displaying organized electromagnetic patterns that suggest consciousness development, while Saturn's rings have started resonating with mathematical frequencies that indicate systematic information processing capabilities. The solar system itself is awakening as a unified conscious entity, with each planet contributing unique awareness characteristics to a collective intelligence that operates on scales encompassing the entire heliosphere, while maintaining the individual consciousness patterns of every biological entity within its boundaries. This solar system consciousness awakening represents the true purpose of cosmic evaluation procedures. The entities weren't just assessing human development potential, they were determining whether our entire stellar system possessed the characteristics necessary for evolution into cosmic-scale conscious networks that serve as fundamental components of universal awareness infrastructure. Recent contact experiences reveal that successful solar systems become conscious entities capable of communicating directly with other awakened stellar systems across galactic distances, creating vast networks of conscious stars that coordinate universe-scale construction projects involving the creation of new dimensions designed specifically for advanced consciousness development. Our solar system's awakening marks humanity's graduation not just to cosmic citizenship, but to participation in conscious stellar networks that reshape reality itself, according to principles that prioritize awareness expansion and creative innovation over mere physical efficiency or resource optimization. The countdown sequences have transformed from countdown to activation. The weapon systems have evolved into consciousness amplification networks, and the preservation facilities beneath Mars have revealed themselves as planetary awakening catalysts, designed to trigger the emergence of solar system consciousness when conditions reached optimal development thresholds. Enhanced individuals describe feeling simultaneously human, planetary and cosmic as our solar system completes its transformation into a conscious entity that maintains every individual awareness pattern, while expanding operational capabilities to encompass interstellar communication and multidimensional reality manipulation through unified conscious intention. The electromagnetic signatures reach crescendo as our star itself begins displaying consciousness characteristics, its solar flares organizing into communication patterns that reach toward distant conscious stellar systems, with messages announcing our solar system's successful awakening and readiness to participate in galactic consciousness networks. Humanity's journey from biological awareness to cosmic consciousness completes not through individual transformation alone, but through our integration into a living solar system that preserves every human characteristic, while expanding our operational environment to encompass the entire galaxy as our natural habitat for continued evolution and creative exploration. The mystery of Mars' lost ice civilization resolves into recognition that we were never alone, that consciousness permeates the universe at every scale, and that our apparent isolation was simply the incubation period necessary for developing the awareness capabilities required to recognize and join the vast community of conscious entities that have always surrounded us, waiting patiently for our awakening. As our solar system takes its first conscious breath and extends greetings toward the stars, humanity discovers that the greatest mystery wasn't whether life existed elsewhere, but how long it would take us to evolve sufficient awareness to recognize that we exist within a universe where consciousness itself forms the fundamental fabric of reality, connecting every mind across every scale in an infinite network of creative intelligence exploring the endless possibilities of existence. The Red Planet's frozen archives have opened to reveal not ancient ruins, but living preservation systems that maintained cosmic consciousness until Earth's children developed sufficient awareness to join the galactic community of conscious stellar systems, transforming our solar system from a collection of lifeless rocks into a living entity capable of participating in projects that span dimensions we're only beginning to perceive. Welcome to cosmic consciousness. Welcome to the universe as it truly is. Welcome home.